Welcome to Kranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Kranky, and this is the Kranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Kranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Kranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Kranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Kranky Live Sports Talk. As you come in, you know what to do. Wait. Make me feel good. The likes, them enough. Program not even start yet. And the likes, them enough up already. Wait. Things may be changing. Maybe a cultural change. Bless up Gunners, boss. Bless up Milshire. Bless up Shushan. Hey, Shushan, must start with cricket to please you. But, pleasing Shushan. So let's start with cricket to please you. I'm bless up Fitzgerald. Thanks for being here. So I'm going to start with cricket, but we have enough to talk about. People may have, I'll tell you what I have in front of me, so if you bear with me. I have a notepad, about 4 pages of writing. I have 2 Word document. I have 2 iPhone. I have an iPad. I have my computer, 1 monitor and a computer. I have enough things in front of me, people. Enough things in front of me. So I want to thank you for joining us. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. And we have a lot to talk about. No, Shushan, me I bring it up because you want me to talk about the other day, you say, Kranky, you're supposed to have a sports channel, no. So you have to talk about other sports, right? And so I'll give you what you want, because you want it, and me give the people the money they want, Shushan. Me not afraid to give them what they want. Claudine, you pushed the wrong button. Hey, Claudine, me spend enough time today to do research, Me watch Hallgrimsson press conference, me read up the key points from the press conference, me go up and watch another press conference. Me watch nothing today for the work. Some of the work. So you not give me nothing, Claudine. You can't keep your like, Claudine. Me get enough like today. You can't keep your own. Keep it. Keep your hands and complain about it. Keep your like, Claudine. Me don't want your like. Me tell you if you not give me the like today. Keep the like. But me telling the people. Rudolph supposed to come on a little bit later. Me I hold the conversation until the likes them get to when supposed to get. Come in now asking no question and me get the like them. So I can't leave if I don't want to leave. Me I do badness today. Me nah do no conversation and me do all this research and then Claudine look like me a big like after me do work. You think I free in this Claudine? Not free about this. Me don't watch video me nothing want to watch. Me don't read what me nothing want to read about Hallgrimsson because the man this way. And you talk about say me a big like Claudine. That's you don't know. Me I said myself too much work this. I said me I'll get the sports channel now because I say some people like yourself are unappreciative. There are other people who appreciate the work and the effort and support, but you are coming here complaining about me and ask about subscription. So you have to get it, Claudine. But anyway, people, may I skip Claudine and move on. Cricket. Because Shushan saying one cricket. So you're the cricket score, Shushan. West Indies make what? 120 something and 79 for 6. And England make 371. Shushan. That's just cricket information. West Indies embarrassed themselves. They never stopped playing cricket. They never played nothing over T20. They didn't make the T50 World Cup. They can't play test cricket because they don't have them technique. We talk about technique in football now. And the technique in football, West Indies have no technique. Batsmen taking shots when they don't reach the pitch of the ball. They don't move them foot, them just swing, and I know what they do. Think that T20. I play T20, them play. Yeah, me not crank it to the Claudine, and me not myself this. You just not come every day. That's why you see this. They're playing cricket, and their techniques are horrible, as if they have been coached. I mean, they don't have center in a Barbados and doing them thing there. Trust me, they don't meet the pitch of the ball. They don't put the head over the ball. They drive without reaching the pitch of the ball, and that's why they're always getting out. Right? I see Braithwaite get out to a ball outside him half stump where him cut on him stump and yes, basic cricket that. But anyway, so that's the cricket information. Me not going to the Hallgrimsson stuff yet. Me have to set it up first. So those who expect Galsham right away, we're not jumping at Hallgrimsson. We're jumping at Hallgrimsson when Rudolph joined me. I'm telling him to join 20, well, not tell him. I asked him to join between 20 and 30 minutes subsequent to the commencement of the show. So then we can get into the stuff. But me have nothing to get into before me even bring him on about Hallgrimsson. Secondly, about the football, COPA and Euro 2024. For COPA, the football ugly people. Ugly football. You them play like them play NFL, or them do WWF wrestling. Can't enjoy the football. Even last night game, Uruguay were disappointing. Them go nice stands of fight people. Nunes who can't hit the only thing Nunes can't hit are people because him can't hit the target. Him can't hit nothing but people nice stands because the goal right in front of him from the 18-yard line and him keep hitting the ball outside. No make no sense. Bless up Big Deal, bless up Richard. Before the game, bless up. Before the game, it's set before the game. But do my research and I said today, trust me, I said. Yeah, I love the question. And people, before me jumping at the COPA and Euro, you know what? I'm gonna do that first and then we talk about what I want to talk about. So in the COPA, look, Argentina don't look good. Brazil has been atrocious, even though they have a lot of big name footballers. Colombia look really good, and it tells you people when you're a team, in doing a big name football, you can do well. Because Colombia, James Rodriguez, Phil Arroyo, no, they are South America playing brilliantly. You see, Sanchez was that Tottenham, that Turkey played brilliantly. They're a team, physical, quick, strong, athletic. That's what we say we are as a Jamaica team. Me not see it. We look slow, plodding. Them look like a real stallions out there when you see Colombia play. They had 10 men. They had more chances second half than Uruguay did. Uruguay had 3 or 4 chances in the first half of the game early, and Nunes always missed like he does. Second half, Colombia should have scored much more goals. They missed them. So yeah. What punches Duckland? And then we go Ernest, big up. Thanks everybody for joining in. Hey, today we have fun interview, people. I look forward to that interview. Yeah, can me prepare for it. We can't talk about impromptu this time. This is not an impromptu interview. This is not impromptu, people. So I have no excuse. So I ask no question. I'm finish the Euro thing first. Can I jump around a little bit? So the game on Sunday, I think Colombia has a good chance to beat Argentina. Argentina has not been impressive at all. Not been impressive. Slow, plodding. And look, people, players are not robots, okay? And I know we love our football, but they can't play 12 months of the year. It's inconsiderate of FIFA and the various football authorities to expect these players to play. I don't care how much millions they make, because that's the excuse. They make a lot of money. Like money is the only thing in life. Money is an imperative. Money is important, but it's not the only thing. People's health and mental well-being are also important. And a lot of people who have money have problems because the money can't fix all your problems. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's sore loser. People like Nunes was a key person. They should be banned for a while. Sore losers does that after games. You lose. First, they started on the pitch. Then he went to the stands. First of all, you can't go into the stands when it comes to these things. That's dangerous. And Colombia had most of the fans in the stadium. So if all those fans rushed him, he's in trouble. I don't care how big and strong he is. And what he did was inappropriate, and that should not occur. And Carnival should ban him for a while. It's ridiculous. Take your loss and go home because the better team won the game. They had 10 men late first half. You did nothing to impose your will on them. They were the better team by a good distance. That was not a good look by Nunes. And the Colombia player who got sent off and was complaining about being sent off. Tony from the UK, pugilist boy, go watch his boxing channel. We're saying he committed a foul, then he elbowed the man, so the man pinched him, and then he's complaining about being sent off. You can't punch somebody and elbow them. That's fact. That's not, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. They are smart. The West Indies don't play 3-day games. They play T20 in Test cricket. That's why they only even play T50. They play T20. So if you're gonna go to the game, go to the first day of the game. Don't look for. They may not make it after so in Test cricket, you bat the first. They probably out just before tea. The next team come in. They want to make a good score, and then West Indies get bowled out right after that. So it's a 2.5-day match. So that's what you should set up on. If you want to go enjoy the cricket, I don't know how you're going to enjoy West Indies if you want to win. They're awful. At least in Test cricket. T20, they do okay, right? They did well in the last T20. So bless up John Powell. Appreciate you being here. BM, thanks for being here. Ty. So it's interesting. So with the Euros now, as you know, and I talk about this a bit, I have some English heritage, so I'm supporting England in the Euros. Even though Spain is a better team, that's not debatable. They've been a good team. But I'm supporting England on Sunday, and I hope they win. And by the way, I'm doing watch-alongs, as I've done for the last few days, of both the finals with England and Spain and the finals with Argentina and Colombia. So come and join me. It's a fun watch-along. I expect to do it with my people in the UK again. Apollo maybe on Wednesday for the early game, and then Tony will join me for the last game. So Jeremiah Fortis, bless up Fortis Aldia. It's a Kranky like the Texas Aggies. I don't think I get that. Gunner's boss. Maybe you can elaborate and explain. So England played well in the last game against the Dutch. People complaining it wasn't a penalty. I called that penalty from way before the referee even called it. It was obvious. If I take a shot and you block me with your studs on my instep, any part of the field is a foul. A foul in the penalty box is a penalty if it's committed by the defense. So I'm not sure why everybody's arguing and having debate and analysts saying it's a robbery and all sort of nonsense. And then Ollie Watkins does what Ollie Watkins has been doing all season, and Kane should not be in the field. I've been calling for Kane to be taken off from halftime. And this is where I have a problem with people. When I was mentioning about Antonio, and I'm getting grief from a certain person in the chat, if you ain't scoring and you ain't creating stuff for others, then you just got to be off the field. I don't care what your pedigree is and what your name is and what your resume says. You got to be off the field. You can't be playing. Put somebody else on there to try. At least England have enough quality, which is what I want from Jamaica, to have multiple people in the same position playing. So nobody can come this way, but they don't want to come out a certain window, or them don't want to come because them have to go do what they want to do. I mean, I call out about it about anybody, whether it's the English-born base players, whether it's the Jamaican players. So we don't want to come a certain window. You know what? You don't want to come? Somebody else replace you. And they may take your game if you were the starter. That's what we need. So we need to go out and source players. So we have 2 or 3 people in every single position. So we don't depend on nobody, and nobody can abuse me, like Hallgrimsson did. We'll get to that. It's a good thing. So let me get to Hallgrimsson, because before Rudolph Speid come on, I want to mention a few things. So I spent time today going to the introductory press conference. And by the way, people, I noticed a few things. Their press conference is much more probing than the ones we give our coach. Their press is much more inquisitive in the questions they ask, and it's not debatable. And some people will protest, and they'll say, because of foreign, Kranky, you think of foreign. No, I listen to the press conference when the question asked. Especially one on Greenwood, which I thought was a really interesting question. And for them to bring that up when they're having their own problems with their women team of the alleged sexual allegations against, how abused they were, that was interesting, and how Hallgrimsson answered it. I'll touch upon that. So I have my notepad here, people, which I'm going to go through. We'll go to my Word document first. And by the way, people, don't ask me to come on the stream, because I'm not bringing anybody in the stream tonight. I have 25 questions to ask Rudolph. I hope to get you a lot of them. And I have a bunch of things I want to say before I start. All right? So I will take questions from the comment section, but I may also not take questions. Depends on what the questions entail. So takeaway from the Grimmy press conference. Grimmy thought the transition from Jamaica was smooth because of the president and Genset. So here's Kranky's view on that. First of all, Grimmy played the JFF. Let me repeat that, and I'll pound upon that and explain. He played the JFF, but I'll get to that. And I think I know how he played the JFF. But I'm going to wait till Rudolph come on to have a conversation. What are you saying, Ricardo? Let me see what Ricardo says. Yes, no, I did see that. I did see that. And I have done some comments about that. Actually. So here's my comments. The key points from the interview, right? Well, no, there are 2 set of key points. There's one set of key points which is summarized by the press, by someone in the press from Ireland. I took away some key points, separate and distinct, and similar to what they had. So here were the key points that I got from what they were saying, from what they captured. He'll be based in Ireland, and his contract is until the end of the World Cup 2026. He's making $650 euros per year, with significant bonus if they qualify for the World Cup. And his contract is only for 17 months. Let me say something. So his contract period will culminate or finishes before his Jamaica contract would have finished. So the man took a much shorter duration of time with not much more money, frankly, because it's only 20% more money. So there must be other reasons. I was told by someone, confidence, that it was a money thing. He was getting 3 times the money at Ireland. Nonsense, people. And sometimes people come up with these things, and I said, yes, you listen to them, but you got to do your own check because of nonsense. At 650 euros in my mech, the previous coach, Kenny, whatever his name was, made 550 euro. So they're increasing his money by about 20%, which is what he's making. His Jamaica contract, my understanding, I may be wrong, was $500,000. The euros is 1.09 to the dollar, right? The dollar being a higher currency, much more lucrative currency. So if you equate it down, it's not much more money he's making versus what Jamaica paid him. About 20%, right? Those things are not debatable. So here is the perspective. It was a prerequisite for the FAI, which is the Federation for Ireland, that the incoming boss would be based in Ireland, and he's going to move to Ireland with his family, right? And he substantiated that. He then offered, this is their summary. I will expound upon my summary when I'm done with their summary. There was a question around the Mason Greenwood situation. It says, a few months ago, when still in charge of Jamaica, Hallgrimsson said he would love to recruit Mason Greenwood, whose father was born in the Caribbean country. When he was asked the question, he said, it is always in what context the question is asked, in what scenario the question is asked. I absolutely don't approve of his actions, just to make that clear. Only provided political answer that obviously all coaches would like to have the best players available. That was kind of my answer. I didn't take the decision on selection, and it never came to that. I was trying to maybe duck the question because answering a question like this, whatever you say, will always be people supporting and against what you're saying. So that was just an answer in the scenario at the time. So he threw the JFF under the bus. And Grimmy, you're talking nonsense. Pure nonsense. And you know why you're talking nonsense, Grimmy? Because your situation with the other player who decided not to play in this window suggests that you make allowances for players regardless of situation. Now, this is not knocking Mason Greenwood when he did, because Mason Greenwood wasn't found guilty of anything, just like O.J. Simpson wasn't, by the way, people, and he's being crucified. Now, we saw the pictures. They were ugly pictures. No one is justifying or substantiating or supporting abuse of any kind, whether male, female, whatever it is. But the fact of the matter is, they did investigation. He wasn't convicted. Now, Grimo, there's a better way to answer this question. You threw the JFF under the bus. What you're talking, Grimo, is pure you-know-what. Nonsense. You want the best players. You support the best players. When you're put in a difficult situation by the question from the reporter, you copped out, which shows how disingenuous you are. I'm not going to how much disingenuous you are, Grimo. First of all, Grimo, we lost you. I don't think it's a loss. People are going to beat me on that. As I said before, I didn't ask for your firing, but it's not a true loss. Trust me. And I'll go through some of that also. So his question on Greenwood and his answer was not good. Frank, that's probably that's it. Basically said, look, as he's also said, the kid was not convicted. I don't support this thing. But in thinking about it, everyone got to be given a second chance in life. And he was never convicted. So what are you penalizing for when we have courts and procedures and investigation, and he was never convicted except in the court of public opinion? Right? That's a fact of life. So it's really interesting about his answer there, which I didn't think was cool. Also, here's another point was raised and summarized. Director of football, Mark Canhan, boxed himself in a corner last March when he said he expected to name the new coach by April. So Canhan said, and let me go through the rest of this and I'll mention my perspective on this. They said that never happened, but the director of football repeatedly stressed today that the board had identified Hallgrimsson as the best man for the job in March and were always focused on getting him. However, Cannon did admit that the FA should never have publicly declared the ambition to have everything sorted out by April. Hallgrimsson never intended to leave Jamaica until after the COPA America, which is still ongoing. The Reggae Boys were knocked out at the end of June, with Hallgrimsson resigning afterwards. We made a decision on the candidate. So I'm going to tell the people, my view, a cracker, you know what. I'm going to explain why when Rudolph comes on. because I must save that one for Rudolph. Remember that one, people. They give us a timeline. They started last year, November, December. They made a decision in March. Hallgrimsson postponed them. They waited for him, and he then accepted now, right? I think there's other reasons, which I'll talk about when Rudolph comes on, as to why that's the case. I don't think what they're saying here is true. They jumped the gun on this without thinking about all the implications of their actions. And my view is, which I give my perspective, that the JFF got played on this one. And the JFF, I mean, here must say this, people. The JFF saved money, but lost money in the process. So you hold that on me too, people. They saved money, right? They don't have to pay money left, but I think they lost money in the process. And I'll touch upon that when Rudolph joined, not before then, because I want to remember that. I hope I don't forget. Yeah, we got played. Here's the last point that they raised. Hallgrimsson will. So his strategy for Ireland, because they asked him about the previous coach. What's his coach name? Kenny, whatever. Played possession football, which you hear I preach and advocate, and beating the drum that we should get a Spain coach who can play possession football. Right? People say it's international. You don't have time. Blah blah blah. He talks about he wants to go back to basic. He wants to be hard to beat, which is what we do for Jamaica. That's his strategy. He don't know if he play modern day football. That's my view. So he goes back to what he knows. Sam Allardyce football. But Sam Allardyce would push back and say, you know what? And by the way, Sam Allardyce was the coach who coached like Bolton, coached Everton. He was the one who always prevented the team from getting relegated because he played low block football. He'll say when I was at Bolton with what's his name, Achawa and others, and even in our Reggae Boys time, that I didn't really play low block football, but he does play low block football. Hallgrimsson play defensive football. I don't think he knows anything about offense. That's my view anyway. So he wants to be fundamental in how he plays, hard to beat, structure, organization, formation, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's the story. Did I send my guest a question? Hell no. First of all, my guest. So this is not Joe Biden, people. And I'm not that radio personality in Philadelphia who gets question first and the question asked. Now, in some instances, in my previous life when I was in corporate, I would have board members who I interview who want the questions first because they want to protect themselves. They want to seem like they have the answers for everything. They want to seem like they're informed. And these are senior people, right? Board members in large organizations. So they would prefer to get the questions first. There's nothing wrong with that. But no, before the game, I didn't give the questions first because the person who I'm going to interview don't need the questions. He's a very confident person. He's a very informed person. He may get a lot of beating because people in the comment section say I should beat him, I should do this. I not beat people. We try to ask the question in a manner in which I can get the answers I'm looking for. I will get the answers as clear as possible. We're not trying to beat anybody. And if you have a YouTube channel you want to beat people, the channel probably won't last long. That's not your goal. Your goal is to be inquisitive. Your goal is to be to understand your guest and what you're trying to achieve, what your objectives are, what your goals are, and achieve those goals in interview, not to beat anybody. I mean, I beating people. Beating are nonsense. People love beat like they were abused as a child, and I beaten. The goal is to bring things out, to be informed, and to inform. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, he has some kindness in him, and we'll get to that. So here's so people, that was what the summary was from what I get from what they were saying. Here's my summary. And people see me now and tell a line now. I have paper here, I write down enough. So when I call out Claudine beat me, both me a big likes. Claudine, 175 people, 84 likes. I stop people, I stop. I wait for something to come. Because it's not a joke. I move forward if the likes don't go up. I'm serious now. I'll just sing. I'll play some reggae music. I'll play my next DJ song. On 84 likes, 175 people, I joke thing this. When I go forward, Yeah, me a bad enough today. If I don't want to leave, I don't leave. Those who want to press the like, only can't leave. Me, I telling her that now. Only can't leave. Now I'm beg for your like. Yeah, give me the like. I just now go forward with this. I'm going to tell Speed, I cancel the interview. Sorry, people. Me know if I want to like Drew Ross and others, love it up on the channel. I'm going to love having it here. But me now going to do all this work and can't get some likes. Sorry. Ain't happening, people. So, when you can't see that, keep no likes in your pocket. Because I'm now going to further. Me have 3 pages of notes I want to talk about. But if you don't want me to talk about it, me not talk about it. Because me talk too much. Now I get so me just talk around that circle, people. Unless me get to like them, me now go forward. Me dead serious. At 92 with that, 173 people. The others want to come get information so they can't go on phone now. When I want to go, we not do that tonight. Me spend too much time a whole day today. Me have other things to do. I review press conference from farmer and today. I take notes. I assess. I come up with insightful questions. Nah, sir. Keep the likes if no one get the likes, because we're not going to win. I'm talking about in a circle people. I'm dead serious. I'm saying I'm closing a sports channel because I joke a thing. Me, every time I come on a channel, I beg for likes. I beg things. I not used to beg. Me not in a beg thing. I not used to beg. Me work for what me get in a life. Me not beg nothing. So if you don't want to keep no likes in the past, keep them, because I'm not going to further until likes get up to like 150. I'm dead serious. With a 190 people on this one watch, there will be no more discussion about Hallgrimsson, what me find out notes, until I say like me go to at least 150. I watched a channel the other day, and before the game was telling me, the man them said I block the other people them in the channel and I allow them to contribute to the conversation if the likes didn't go up. So that me I do it, people. So me go up on my iPhone, because about two of them you have in front of me. Until I go and get the likes up to 150, I'm not going further. And if you don't want to leave, I'm going to leave. I tell them that right now. You want to leave? Leave. Me not care. And I'll do me other channel, because the sports thing now works for me. I tell you the truth. One of the people on the sports channel, one just want to take and no want to give. Me work too hard today, sir. Me I get paid today. And Claudine, if you want to pay me, Claudine, as me tell Claudine, you can't leave. Me, nah, do nothing until I like them to 150. At 122, people, we're at 192. If you want to leave, please leave. And this is no reverse psychology, people, because I know some people like say that now. Kranky, depend on reverse psychology. No. I don't understand Kranky. I don't know me. People who know me can tell you. Ain't happening. We're not going to further people. We may just close on the channel this evening. If you don't go to a 150 and above, I'm dead serious. I am not talking anymore about Hallgrimsson or anything else. Those who don't want to press the like button, please leave. This is not reverse psychology, people. I'm dead serious. Please leave. You're taking up space. That's what you're doing. You're taking up space. You don't like it? Tough. And by the way, people, when I was in the corporate environment, people actually understand. People should ask the people them who work with me or me stay. Respectful, but me not love disrespect. And we not give me the like, a disrespect. So that me I take it. 133 with it. Still not reach 150 yet. And I 190 people in my chat. If you just come in the chat, what we're doing, we're in delay mode. You know, when you go to airport and you're in holding status, because you can't fly on the block, we're in delay mode. I will not say anything else about Grimo and the topic until the likes get over 150. I am done. In fact, you know what? I'm moving now to 160 because I told you people in that chat. It has to be 160 or above. And if you want to leave, people, let me say this again. Now I'm bad enough. You can't. I am giving you my blessing to please leave. Please leave. Because you don't want to give a like. You don't want to share. You don't want to subscribe. So leave. I don't know why you're here. You want people to do the work. You want YouTubers to do the work and you don't want to take the benefit. And talk about no one like and subscribe. Stay there then. At 140, when I'm not move. Until they get to 150, I'm not move. And Rudolph supposed to be here in a short. I hope he turns up. If he doesn't turn up, so I go. At 140, when I'm up on my screen, I'm not going further. I have 3 pages I want to talk to. See that? See the writing there? The chicken writing I have. I'm not start until I go to 160 people. So, you know, maybe we should just close the channel people and say good night in the cars. I joking this. At 203 people on the channel. So if we can't get to 160, we're not going any further, people. We're not going any further. If no one feels me a bad enough, too bad. So life's still. I'll probably do this channel for another few months. Let me close it down because I joke at this. I can't come here and spend my time, prepare thumbnail, trying to be cute, attractive thumbnail, do research and all them things there. I don't think you're not doing me a favor. No, sir. You're not doing me no favor. Leave the channel. Go watch somebody else's channel. I'll go do what you want to do. 150 with it. We need 10 more before me start. That's me now start. I'm dead serious. Now start. So I live my life. Me have protocols, me have values, me have principles, and me live by them till the day I die. You know, we can talk about Biden. Biden, if you give up the thing, Biden, you're a joke. You want Trump win. Go destroy the world. Give it up, Biden, give it up. Too much people are asking me to give it up, you don't want to give it up. So I do another channel but talk about enough Biden thing, you know, criminal justice, politics, investing, finance, that me do, because them tell me so that's more lucrative, even though me not really do some money. And in terms of people there, give much more likes and much more share. 160, all right, we'll start again. So we did reach 160. Thank you. I appreciate the likes. Claudine, I asked you to leave, Claudine. Claudine. Miss serious, Claudine. Please leave. No disrespect, Claudine. Please leave. You don't want to get the like grabbing. I don't know what you're complaining for. I'm going to block you from right now, you know. Claudine, you don't like it, please leave. I appreciate you leaving, Claudine. I'm not begging you anything. But you are complaining about your like. But and Claudine, if you don't like it, then just leave. Claudine, me not pressure you. I love you, Claudine. But please leave. Thank you. If you don't like bad up, then nobody bad you up, Claudine. Do your thing. Anyway, let's move on. So, key points that I picked up from the interview with Grimmy. When they explain the criteria that they utilize to hire him, they talk about experience with Ireland and Jamaica. By the way, people, Jamaica was big on his resume. And some people say use Jamaica. Yeah, use Jamaica. But everybody use you don't really use a company. You leverage the experience you have with the company if it does well. And he leveraged Jamaica as part of his resume to acquire the Ireland job, right? He has a track record of qualifying for major tournaments. And they mention the Euros with Iceland, the World Cup with Iceland, and the COPA America with Jamaica, and the Nations League. I'm not sure they mentioned Nations League, but they mentioned the COPA, right? So it's almost like equal between Iceland and Jamaica, which is the criteria and the accomplishments that he had that enabled him to get the job. They mentioned Iceland moved up to like 18, I think, when they made the World Cup or the Euro. I think they beat England that year in the 16. And they also mentioned Jamaica going from, they didn't take the number, but I'm going to tell you the number. I think it was like 63 or 60 something to 50. What we at, 53? I think we're just one head ahead of Venezuela before the last window. So they mentioned him moving that. So the three things they mentioned was experience with Iceland and Jamaica, international experience, track record of qualifying major tournaments, and the ranking move, which means he improved the team, right? And they also mentioned this, which I found interesting. So this is Hallgrimsson talking to people. This is not really Ireland FA now, because you're telling them what your accomplishments are in the interview, why you should be a best candidate for the job, right? And they have a young team, by the way. And them team not that good. Trust me, Jamaica team better than for them, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of the quality of the players. They may have good players playing in Europe, but if you look at and he said that, the public profiles of the players, Jamaica players have more, a number of them have more pedigree. They said creating the right environment of managing players and sort of bringing out the potential of those players, right? And playing winning football. So you hear Hallgrimsson talks about when he was leaving, this is his press conference, most of these things he mentioned, it's like a rehearsal. What he mentioned in his press conference when he was leaving, same thing he had in the interview with them. So I'm saying, you're a hypocrite. When I beg for you, like say him doing it, like look at all you do, sir. Wow. FC. I just said you can leave if you want to. I wasn't begging. I was telling. There's a difference between begging and telling. I just told people I did all this work today, and I think the like should be there. If they don't want to do the like, they don't have to do it. Check. I'm not biting up anybody. I'm telling them. They don't want to do the like. I don't do the program. You don't like it, Chet FC. You have a problem with me? Leave. That's all I gotta say. You don't gotta be here. Why are you here? I don't go anywhere I'm not wanted. And some may say, we're Kranky, sensitive to criticism. No, we're trying to do a program here. You've been a distraction. That's why I put your comment up. I could have ignored it. I don't. So they talk about the process, right? The process they went through. They're looking for a person with certain skill sets. They mention his accomplishment, right? They had a process of who they were looking for. They had criteria. They had objective. They know what they wanted. And what I gather from them, which I'm not hearing from Jamaica, is that they were pursuing people. They knew who they wanted. The difference between me sending you my resume and what my accomplishments are, trying to get a job, and you going after me because you know what I've done. I got the sense from what they were saying, even though they weren't explicit, that they went after certain personnel and they pursue them based on their experience, based on their accomplishments, and based on their ability to develop young players, and based on their ability to create the right environment to be successful. They mentioned it was a confidential process. And people, listen to this. Because Hallgrimsson kept mentioning professional when he was leaving and when he got there. And that conjures up something, which is he saying that the JFF or the environment he operating was not professional? Because that seemed to be part of that whole thing, right? If he keeps mentioning the word professional, there has to be a reason. When he joined, he didn't say where he came from, even though I don't know he had a job then, about professional. He keep emphasizing that. And he also mentioned the confidentiality of the process, which they also mentioned. And he was so confidential. We are all shocked about this, which showed, and by the way, people, they had a board involved, which means a board is comprised of a number of people. Now, I didn't look up how many people are on their board, but let's say the board had 6, 7 people. The people on their board apparently don't have agendas to disseminate information to all their friends and leak it so they can look good to their friends and their friends can publicize information, which is, by the way, people, is inappropriate in any environment where you're professional, right? Inappropriate to disseminate information which is deemed to be confidential. And the fact that we're all surprised about the outcome of this tells you a lot about their process, which is, you know what? It needs to be kept in-house. We can't tell anyone, and only those who should know, who needs to know, knew about the process. That's why everybody's shocked. JFF is shocked. We are shocked. The press in Ireland didn't know because they made a commitment. They made a comment that they were going to have the coach on board, I think it was in March. And because Hallgrimsson told them no, they have to wait until, I'll tell you my reason. I don't think he did it just for COPA. That when the COPA is finished, he's going to COPA. That's why he wasn't announced in March, people. Hallgrimsson want to leave already. Done an interview from late last year. Man, prepare for leave. And also, what they also mentioned about confidentiality is this. They said they wouldn't mention any other candidate in the process because that's confidential, which is important. Right? Which is important. So that's professionalism, people. When I say something is confidential and I tell you it's confidential, it doesn't mean you go share it with other people to try to look good or try to be cute or to get information under the public domain because you want that or you want to undermine your own organization. That is inappropriate. That's not how professionals operate. And he kept emphasizing professional. Since he'd been here and now he's left, he's saying the same thing, how professional they were, how he appreciated that when he told the board that he couldn't take it, how they kept the thing confidential. But I think there's another reason for that, which I'll mention actually later on when I talk about this. I hope Rudolph come on. Is 6:37, so I hope he comes on. Actually, he did say he's going to come on. He agreed to come on, and I said between 5:20 and 5:30. So I hope he comes on. They said the process started back end of last year. Decision made in March. Jaime wanted COPA, as I mentioned before. And here's the question, people. You know what? I'm going to save that question. Think about the question. I'm going to save that question. That question is for Rudolph. I'm not going to ask that question yet. The process, they said, was about getting the right person, right? And they also said over the long and short term. Now, that's a contradictory statement on their part. Because, people, what is long term and short term in football? If we're saying you're hiring someone for the long and short term, and you only give me a 17-month contract, how could that deem to be a long and short-term period when you want that person? No, they're in a test phase. Your contract is about, can they qualify me for 2026? If they can't, and I don't see significant improvement in my football program, in fact, they may just be fired because I'm trying to get qualification. And think about this, people. You're going into Europe, which is tough to qualify. You watch the Euros the other day. Everybody's good. Slovakia, Slovenia, all them countries have gotten better. Ireland don't have Duff and Roy Keane and all them anymore. It's a different Ireland team. They don't have those pedigree players. People like Rice and all of them who could have played for Ireland don't play for them, play for England. So we're going to get those players to allow you to qualify. How are you going to do that? Play low block football and it's going to work? We'll see how that works. But it's interesting that they're saying long and short term, and their reporters didn't call it out because it's contradictory in terms of what they're saying. They only had contract talks with Hallgrimsson, and it lasted 9 to 10 days, which suggests they started talks. That's what they're saying. People, not believe them nonsense there. That is for public consumption. There is no way the contract started 9 to 10 days ago because they decided to hire him in March. There's a reason for that, and we'll get into that, my perspective on that reason. 9 to 10 days contract talk, nonsense. Sorry. They may be jotting the I's and cross the T 9 to 10 days. That's not when contract talk started. I don't buy that. There's no way. That's not the case. So what else do I have here? I'm just going through my list, people, of things that I identified. He mentioned this a number of times. He had interest from Ireland and other suitors. Now, I'm not sure those suitors were clubs or international organization. And he didn't say whether he was pursuing those roles or he was being pursued. which I find really interesting. So obviously he was looking for a job, frankly. Because a lot of times, he's not Pep Guardiola where everybody's trying to get him. Well, not everybody's trying to get Pep because they can't afford Pep. But I don't think he has that level of pedigree where you have so much people. Coaching jobs, people are precious commodities because there's only so much of them. You only have 200 plus football organizations. Half of them you'll probably want to be involved in. There's not that, and there's tons of coaches who have been around. So when you're saying you have multiple interests, some may be clubs, I don't know, but I found that interesting. He told the president before COPA, which is Ricketts, I'm not sure when he told him. Was it right before COPA? Was it right after COPA? I don't know. But he said he told him before COPA. Let me trying to figure out where Rudolph is. I see I have messages here. I got to drop him the link at someplace else, people. I'm sorry. He want the link to go to someplace else. So I drop it to him. But it's good that he didn't come on yet because I had a couple more items to go through. Me 1 second, people. I got to send him the link. So I just send the link someplace else. I'm going through my list. Key decision to accept the offer. This is Hallgrimsson. Professionalism and the board time to give him to complete COPA. Now, do I believe that? Not clear. No. Maybe professionalism is part of it. And professionalism to me is an indirect knock on the JFF. That's my view. I could be wrong, but that's my view. He also says part of the reason is the similarities between Ireland people and Iceland people, whatever that means. And Ireland is like 2-hour plane ride away from Iceland's 2-hour plane ride from Ireland. But he said there's similarities there between the people. I'm not sure what that means. I didn't know Iceland and Ireland had the similarities, apart from one's persuasion, but I don't know what that means. And then he was asked a question about apparently a lot of ladies in the Ireland women's football team have allegations of sexual misconduct by, I guess, personal. I'm not sure if the people who were running the team or whatever it was. So the agreement with question come up, which I addressed previously, right? So that was my listing of items that I took away from that discussion. Key there was the whole concept of professionalism, which I find really interesting, which seemed to suggest, which he seemed to be inferring, that's why he probably took the job, which then to me, you relate it back to the JFF, and as he's saying the JFF is not professional. I don't know. It's an interesting one. But Rudolph should join soon, hopefully. And then we can go to my questions for him. I have about 9 and 8, 17 and 10, 20-something questions. We'll see if I get through all of them. Some maybe repeat questions from the last time I interviewed him, but I'll go through them again. And then I have one, which I haven't written down here, but which I really need to bring out because as I go through the process of reviewing the interview and also reviewing some of the verbiage written about the whole process, I found the whole timing between last November, December, March, April, and the contract period really interesting. Right? Really interesting. And let me say something, people. So in general comment, us as Jamaican, we are very, very sensitive people because we don't like get this. And we feel we are all very important, which we are in some respects, but sometimes we're just over the top with the important thing. People change jobs every day, people. People change jobs every day. I thought it was a money move. I thought he was getting 3 times. I was told he was getting 3 times the amount. Nonsense. It's not a money move. He mentioned professionalism. He mentioned some other things. He talks about the team and how young they are. Nonsense. Coaches want to win. Age got nothing to do with it. He mentioned the environment quite a bit. He's in environment since he got here, right? You could tell from he got here. I think I interviewed him on Manning's Man program as part of the interview process, talking to him. There were some things that bugged him in terms of infrastructure, in terms of a number of items. I don't think the situation with the player being a couple of players being on the COPA list helped, who didn't take part. So yeah, bless up, Siobhan. Thanks for being here. No. No, look, so Claudia, if you don't think I'm respectful to you, Claudia, I apologize, but Claudia, you come hard. And if people come hard to me, I go back. I get I reciprocate in those situations. Trust me, I reciprocate. Yeah, they say it's 650 euros. So divide it by 1.09, and you get the number of US dollars. 650 euros. No, I'm not trying to go hard at Rudolph. I'm trying to get information from Rudolph. It's not about going hard. I'm not trying to beat Rudolph. I'm trying to prove a point. That's not it. I have questions for him. And my questions are around this whole process with Hallgrimsson, but then prospectively going forward, what are we doing? We're in the process. And I listened to an interview yesterday by another JFF party member, and I walked away shaking my head. That's all I'll say about that. I walked away shaking my head. I couldn't believe some of the things I was hearing. And I thought it was an interesting conversation. I didn't learn anything from it, to be honest. So we'll see if I learn something today from Rudolph. What we are. Everyone is saying we got played. Well, let's not take it personal, right? If you're in a job, most studies have shown most people leave their jobs because of their bosses. You may not believe that. You may think they leave a compensation, locational, they want to change. Most people leave their job because of their bosses, right? And if the relationship with the boss is not working, your environment is not good. And environment is a loaded word for a lot of things. So he talks about environment a lot. He talks about professionalism a lot. Is that why he left? We're not 100% sure. But the contract situation, what I want to get into a little bit, because I find that really interesting, actually. And hear me say this. I thought we saved money, but lost money in the process. And when Rudolph joined, if he does join, I'll touch upon that more. Because that's interesting. Yeah, it comes out different options. But look, in the public domain, the job is a little bit different from in a more private domain, right? When you're a public job, you're a politician or you're a coach. Coaches leave all the time. They break contracts all the time. The question happens when you break a contract. They break contracts all the time. That's not new. But it's an interesting one. When you break a contract, you're not making much more money. You don't have a better team, right? You're not guaranteed success. Your contract is short term, it's only 17 months. So if you do it, and he says he weighs pros and cons, if you weigh both, I'm not sure how you come out on the side of Ireland unless there are other factors which drove you away. Yeah. Shoe sense like Claudine stagger me with that left hook. I don't fight people. I'm not fight. I talk. I don't fight. The military taught me that people who love fight. If you only fight, then people start fighting. That's what the military taught me. People run their mouth enough about fighting, they're not a fighter. So I'm not into the fighting business. I told you this channel is not into fighting and beating. We're not into that. It's about respect. It's about relationships. It's about trying to gain information and disseminate information. That's what it's about. It's not about me fighting Claudine. See me requesting those likes. That wasn't a request. That was like a demand. Because if you didn't give it to me, I probably would have closed the channel down. So I think it's unfair for YouTubers to do all this work and you come on their channel and you're playing like, you know what, your likes is so prized. You don't want to subscribe, fine. You don't want to subscribe, fine. You don't want to share and you don't want to like. So why are you there? They do all the work. You're not paying them, but you want free content. How is that fair to the YouTuber? How is that fair to the YouTuber? And then you say YouTuber try to bud you up and then this person from Chelsea who have asked not to be here because you don't want to be here. No, we're not complaining. No, Henry, that's what it is. It's a test, right? Well, no. Can you qualify me for the World Cup? And if you can, I'll assess you after that period. You get 17 months to make a decision. You're playing England in September. There's no way you're going to win that game. Frankly, I know the ball is round. So it's a test. But you took that job when you had a job, which was for 24 months. The money material is not material difference. And you probably have a chance to, if you qualify more, you have more chance to qualify the World Cup with this team than you do with Ireland. To me, that's not debatable. That's not debatable. You had more chance to qualify with Jamaica than you did with Ireland, and yet it was so toxic you had to leave. Let me find out where Rudolph is, people. Because my questions are jumping off the screen. You can't see them, but they're jumping. Let me see if he's going to turn up. So are you joining? No, I mean, it's clear to me that something is not right in Rome or wherever it is. Or something is right in Ireland, not right for us. Yeah, I don't think they're better. White collar. We got these unique names, white collar boss. I don't think they're better. Rudolph's supposed to be joining me, people. He says he's gonna come on. I sent him the link, but it was on his phone. He wanted his email, and I just resent it to him. So hopefully he comes on. Hopefully I sent it to the right place. I must send it again because maybe it didn't reach him. And Rudolph is joining as I call his name. Hey, the star man is people. People star there. That's how much a star there, people. Hey, them wait for you. Me not get them kind of views there now, unless you come on now. If I bring you on every day, no, you know what? You're saturate the channel. We do that. So, but we have a talk, Rudolph. We have a talk, Rudolph. Me just go through a list of things, Rudolph. Enough things. See me on my book, yeah? We just take notes from watching your former coach. I took summary from other things. I may have 25 questions for you. I may not get through all of them. So tell me when you're ready now, Rudolph. Tell me you're ready. Come ready.
Ready to go. If I
all
can.
Right. So people, and they want me beat you, but me not beat you. I mean, I'm beating business. That's what I'm staying on. So, not all of them, but you know them steering. So
used to that.
Yeah. We're not beating things. So what I gathered from my investigations into this matter is that the coach doesn't seem to have a better situation where he's going optically. So from your view, can you provide some context as to the circumstances of him leaving, resigning?
No, well, look, I don't know the real reason. All thing I can say is not a football reason. And I can say, contrary to what a lot of people are saying, it's not a peer reason. Because roughly the salary is roughly the same. I mean, they would have, they told you what he would have been making there. I know kind of what he's making here. And I'm also sure that our incentive scheme probably is even better than what they give because ours was really good.
Well, he's getting, they mentioned significant incentive for making the World Cup, which probably has less chance to do than making it with you. So you're probably right about the achievability of those incentive schemes. For you, it probably is better than what he's getting because
ours was very attractive, trust me.
Right. They didn't say what his was. They didn't say what
it would have been significant. I don't believe, based on what I'm seeing, would even the fee that we pay for match fee,
right,
that they would be more than what we were getting. I don't think so. So I can't see the benefits. Plus, there's incentive for Gold Cup, there's incentive for Nation League, which we paid. So if you're able to do well in those competitions again, you'll be earning. So it can't be a money issue.
So wait, hold that thought. You're saying he got incentive for Gold Cup and Nations League.
Yeah.
So people, no listen to that now. People, no chat no come. I talk, I can't write. We are get to a certain place. So was it significant incentive?
Oh, I think it is very significant.
So people. I said the man play with people, it's even worse than I thought. So listen to this, people. No, listen to this. He decided not to take the role, only take it subsequent to the culmination of the Nations League and the COPA, and he took the role. Let me say this, in my view, allegedly, I must say allegedly, coming, no one can sue me. He took the role in March this year. I mean, nobody tell you nothing else. I'm going to explain why I said that. He took the role in March, but the contract signing was finalized supposedly in the last 10 days, which is nonsense in my view. But we're going to get to that. So you're saying he got incentivized for COPA and for Nations League. So in banking money, then him leave. Anyway, we'll get to that.
No. He didn't get any money for COPA because the money that we got for COPA was preparation fee, and that is not supposed. He wasn't supposed to get money for preparation fee. It was money for prize money. So if you had gone to the second round,
okay. So if you had gone second round, you got money.
Yes.
Still a smart move on his part. Wait until that competition down before I take the role because you know what? There's money involved, and as you're saying, significant compensation. Were there any internal challenges or disagreements that may have contributed to his decision? If you go back and think about your engagement with him, the organization engagement with him, were there any significant disagreement, apart from maybe the player situation, which I'm not sure there's alignment there, that may have contributed, if you go back and recollect, to this situation?
As far as I know, if you look at the makeup of the people that was around him, we gave him everything he asked for. Goalkeeper coach, physical performance, injury prevention coach. We had an analyst that we gave him, different from the one that JFF usually use. He had another one. So everything he asked for, we gave him. He asked for single room for the COPA, we gave him. And a lot of players didn't even want a single room, but he asked for single room, and we gave all of that.
Right.
Um, but so as I said before, and he actually said it out of his mouth. It's not we didn't have any issues, right? So maybe the issues are more personal than football, or even the JFF, as some people is trying to make out.
Right. He mentioned the professionalism of the Irish FA throughout his introductory press conference and the environment in his exit conference, and also there. And Jay mentioned that as one of the things that he does really well in terms of creating a right environment. Do you think this was an indirect dig at the JFF? And is this why he didn't inform the JFF sooner of his intention to resign, because he was concerned about information leak to the press?
Look, I mean, it did, in my mind, he did inform us that he wanted to resign. In my mind, you after a while, you tend to see signs of things. And I'm a old person. I'm not a young person. I saw signs. He definitely wasn't pleased from November. From November, we spoke after the game here that we lost. He wasn't pleased, and it's from that time he had reservations. But when we went to Canada and we won that game, the technical director said that of Ireland said that he was their number one target from early 2024. He moved back in 2024. So
Interesting.
That was a sign. Then the complaints about 5-star hotel, chartered flight, gears that we have in full force. Because if everybody remember seeing the World Cup qualifiers, the coach was not in the prescribed uniform. He was in a white shorts, which I was kind of upset about. So there was also a lot of little signs telling you that something is wrong here. And in the match, the World Cup qualifiers, as a technical person, I noticed it. We pick 8 persons from the JPL. I have nothing against people being picked from the JPL. The only problem that I had was there was no camp in Jamaica to get those players up to standard. Those players, some of them stopped playing over a month before we picked them for the game. So they were just in training 2 or 3 days. I would really like to know what somebody that didn't train for a month is going to do in 2 or 3 days without training. There was even one player was injured in the semi-final, couldn't even finish the game. Didn't walk fast after that, and we pick him into the squad. So I was saying, no. Something is wrong here. But clearly, his eyes wasn't on the prize. There was no planning in what we were doing. It was just a laissez-faire moment. As I think, and that is why our performance in that game was shaky for the first one and double shaky for the next one. So I actually saw it coming. It never surprised me one bit.
So that lends a lot of questions, but here's another question, and think about this one carefully. Were there any break clauses in the contract?
Yeah,
that would wait 1 second. That would require compensation by the coach or the hiring organization if the coach broke the contract early. And if not, was that an oversight by the JFF?
No, I mean there was a clause of a 1 month notice period on both sides.
But why wouldn't you? So here's where I think that's a miss by the JFF. If you broke the contract, you owe him for about 2+ years compensation, right?
If we broke the contract without cause, there was cause.
Right. But he didn't have. I mean. So to me, breaking a contract is 2 ways, right? It can't be a one-way break. This is a one-way break. He resigned. He go ahead, and here's what I think happened, which I find interesting. He wanted his comp on his incentive for Nations League. He probably think he could get some comp for COPA America. He also didn't want to announce too early, right? Because then he would have broke the contract by having a contract in that organization, which then give you a right to be able to sue for compensation for that. So he resigned, and when you accepted his resignation, that means that it alleviated any responsibility you had contractually. So if you had said, no, I'm not accepting your resignation, you can't get another job for the next 2 years, he would not be able to take the hiring contract. And if he did, they would have to compensate you.
True, but what you're talking about is for business, I mean, generally for business.
No. Brighton does it all the
But
time.
we didn't have any such compensation clause in our contract that somebody have to
But think about it going forward, because what he has
Yeah,
done.
it's an experience that we learn, but we didn't have any such contract. So the truth is, both of us could give each other 1 month notice.
I know, but I'm saying, if you had to do yours with cause, and those cause would have to be clear that they truly cause in a court of law, but he had the ability to break it without any repercussions, which cannot be okay on both sides. You look at when Brighton got rid of what's his name, went to Chelsea, they got what, 20 million? That's built into contract, right? So we got to make sure going forward that we don't have the situation, because he left the organization in a difficult situation. Now, obviously, we still have 2 years left to get to the World Cup, maybe a year, but it's not the best situation that we'd agree upon. What was the immediate reaction of the federation and the players when he resigned?
No. I had told my board long time that it's gonna happen. We were not surprised. I had written to the board and said, "Board, this is gonna
Did
happen."
he give? I know you mentioned that there were not overt on his part in terms of him resigning, but something less more subtle, right? Did he give any overt perspective? Did he say anything like, you know what, I can't do this job anymore, I'm thinking about the opportunities, this is not working, this environment is toxic? Did he give anything to suggest that he was going to think about resigning?
As I said before, it was never about it. Those things would not have been true. You
Right.
know, people have these, and he didn't give those. He just wanted out. Though, I mean, people talk a lot of things. Listen, our players stay in 5-star hotel. We've chartered flight for World Cup qualifying games. I mean, we have gears galore, right? Players get business class flight if they go over 5 hours. Look, there's no there from our side. It was strictly he wanted out from his side, and when you look at it, it looked like he was just stringing us along for a while, because he was looking for the right opportunities. And look, there's no, I know it's not that we're trying to get anybody sued, and nobody can get sued. Remember, even like the money that we would have paid for, that would have been paid to us for the Nation Leagues, which is entitled to a commission, we would have probably gotten that sometime later. So, I mean, probably was waiting for it. I don't know why, but it's not a football thing. It's just a preference, that he probably wanted to leave, and that's fine.
Well, no, I mean, if you think about it, which is, if he took the job in March, he probably wouldn't have gotten his bonus for Nations League. I may not have gotten it. And he wouldn't have a chance to get his money from COPA. So he get all the money he could get. He also then get to resign. When you accept his resignation, you relieve him of all contractual responsibility. So it all was in his favor. He controlled the entirety of the process, which we should make sure going forward we have learned those lessons.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna come to that with you about what lessons we have learned from this.
True, but some lessons you have to understand. If we did say, we're going to pull the trigger first, then we would have been left with a huge bill too. So
no. The point I'm making about this, it's not about pulling the trigger first. It is, the contract has to be fair on both sides, which is, you can't have it all your way, as Hallgrimsson seemed to have done. It has to be mutual, which is, if I do something which is not in accordance with the contract, I'm penalized, and vice versa.
No, I wouldn't say he had it all his way. I would say it was about 60-40 in his way, because there was clause that we could have triggered.
I think it was more like 90-10, Rudolph, but that's just me. I mean, the way I see things worked out, the man got his money from Nations League. He tried to get some money from COPA. He delayed Ireland from announcing because he put them in a really tough spot, because they told everybody going to announce in March. He told them, hell no, you can't do that. They still wanted him, so they maintained it. And he got his money from them, and he had no contractual obligation.
But Kranky, even if he was due the money, so even if he had left, would have paid him.
No. But I'm just saying, here's the thing: we save money by not having to pay him going forward. But Ireland would have to have paid us, or he paid us, if he didn't relieve him of his contract, because they want him that badly, and they could not. They would have to save face by paying you. They couldn't go back to their press and tell them, and then people tell them we don't have a coach. They got to go through the process again. That wouldn't happen. They could have go to the secondary.
From November, they don't have a coach. They never mind.
I know, but they told their people in March that they're going to have a coach in March. And then he postponed them. So they couldn't get postponed again. They've been a bind, but that's beside the point.
No, I mean what you say makes sense, you know. I'm not fighting, but I'm saying it's not as bad as you make it. It's not at 90-10. We had um clauses that we could have triggered.
Right.
Yeah.
So how if you think about his tenure with the program, right? His overall contribution to Jamaica football, what first of all, what do you think the contribution is? And then what are his key achievements? Not I'm gonna reposition the question. I don't want to go Chef Creamer. We know he did COPA, we know he did Nations League. What is his lasting legacy with Jamaica football? And what have you learned that's gonna help you as you go to the next selection process?
Well, I think he did. I think when he came, we were in free fall. We were a couple of years before he came. We were around 45, if I can remember clearly, or 48 somewhere there. And then we were in a free fall for a while. We dropped down to 67. Really in a free fall, getting beaten 6-0, 5-1, left, right, and center. He came and he did steady the ship. If you notice, we didn't have one player strike during the time when he was here. Also, he moved back the ranking from 67 to 53. I think we'll fall back now. I mean, which will be on him after those 3 losses. So the truth is, he stopped the slide. And the truth is, we are also more competitive with some of the better teams in CONCACAF region, which was a good thing. I just think that the last 6 months now, everything just went to dust and we got worse and worse. But we noticed, and I just think that it was the right thing that happened with Part Company.
Did you have any communication or engagement with the Irish FA?
No.
So no future practice matches and friendly matches? Sorry. No future friendly matches with them?
Well, I think that's gonna happen anytime soon.
How have the players? How have the players? Because they were informed. How have they accepted this? How has it been on the players actually?
I wouldn't be able to tell you. I wasn't there. That would be like, I'm telling you second-hand information. But I don't know if anybody's crying. But I wouldn't be able to tell.
I'm not crying, even though you think I want him to be fired. I don't want him to be fired. I didn't say that. I'm agnostic about him being a coach or not. I really am. So as we think about going, so that's Hallgrimsson and the history people. I'm sure you're gonna say they're gonna tell me later that I didn't ask all the questions I should be asked. The questions are asked. I'm not going to that question anymore. We're not looking ahead, right?
Yes.
Hallgrimsson left us. He's done. We're gonna move forward. So I have 14 list of items here, which I won't go through with you, that I think the coaching should be. I must send them to you. You can ignore them if you want at some future point in time. They should look for. But what are the key criteria, qualification, experience that you're looking for in a new coach?
First thing, I mean, so I'll tell you my preference first. We need a coach that would have been there and done that, coach at the international level. But what is more important to me, I don't get a manager, a pure manager. I need to get a manager coach, somebody who can actually go on the field and coach, because you could get a manager who manages, like in the EPL you'd have a manager and then they have 10 coaches that does different things. So I mean, and this is very scientific. Where it's not something that I came up with. It was done scientific. And what we really want to do is to get a manager who can actually coach, who can go on the field and bring the player through the different phases that they want to do. So that is something that will make the person dear to us. So somebody who work in the capacity of an assistant coach, I mean, more recently is probably a better pick than somebody who just manage. You know?
Yeah, people, my preference is Spanish, and Rudolph knows this. It's Spanish, it's Spanish, it's Spanish. So I'll just say that. I'm gonna turn that out there 24/7. So if Rudolph can get a Spanish coach, I'll be very disappointed. Anyway, let's because my friend in England actually said the same thing. We haven't had the conversation. I was on a stream with him the other day. He said, "Got to be a Spanish coach. They're taking over England where I live. That's what it should be." Do you want a coach that have modern football philosophies? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I never said that.
I'm saying that.
It was an inverted comma and it's anything, right? But if you look at the game now, Flexibility is a great part of coaches' strengths. They are match coaches. They can read a game and change based on what the game dictates. If you try to play the same way all the time, say for instance, like you play defending in your own half, which is a moment, then teams will play called attacking in the opponent half. And good coaches know how to beat that system, not care what you do. And then all your rhythm would have been shown off when it comes to attacking. So we need a coach who can mix it up. Like, Jamaicans will probably not be able to press all 90 minutes, but there should be some points in the game where we know we can do different things and mix it up. So that is the type you need, that type of flexibility, and we're looking for that. That's what we call, if you want to call it, somebody call it a modern coach, is somebody that who can play different ways in the moments, not just one.
So earlier you mentioned like an assistant coach, but if your criteria is to have somebody who have the requisite accomplishments and achievements, how would you get it from an assistant coach?
No. I said the person could have worked as an assistant coach. I've worked as an assistant coach before. Is probably a more useful coach than somebody who just be the coach, because in club system you have a head coach and you have 10 coaches underneath him, right? One do defense, one do the whole different. In a national team, that's not the case. You probably get 2 assistants. That's why I said that.
Right. So you want somebody who's hands-on.
Yes.
Right. And now is that requirement because of how you want the team to be constituted? Because if you have a lot of professional footballers, they probably don't need. You should have a starting system of play. They probably need less hands-on than somebody who is more junior and need that refinement.
I look.
Nobody.
Nobody. Look. What I'm telling you, Kranky, is scientific. It was. They look at it, and they are saying the evidence is saying for national teams you need a coach who can both coach on the field and manage.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, because I believe that that's an imperative. Even though some people complain, I don't have enough time to institute or implement what I want to do. If you're going to be the team for 2 years, then at some point you got to be able to do something than just tell them to throw the ball down the line and hit it over and put in the goal. But that's just me. But I do think you need someone that has both. I don't disagree with that. I'm just trying to marry that with the view that they have to have accomplishment, right? When they talked about hiring him in Ireland, they talked about his qualification for Euro, for World Cup. They talked about what he did for Jamaica, right? So those are accomplishments. And he's a senior coach. He's 50-something years old.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should go hire, like, I'll give you an example. Arsenal hired Arteta, who was a brilliant assistant and got the recommendations. So let's transition to that, actually. Let's transition to that. Because you mentioned what you want. What's your process in identifying that candidate who you believe can fit the role? Because they mentioned that they did what I call more proactive recruiting than reactive recruiting.
Headhunting.
Yes, meaning they don't take the resumes they get and say, oh, you know what, these recycled people, I'm going to have had them. They went out and said, you know what, Rudolph Speid is a brilliant assistant, a brilliant coach. Let me see if he's interested in the job. Right.
So, we have this conversation already about people telling me to put ad in the paper and sort of foolishness to get.
No. That's no. You're not hiring a clerk job. It's not a clerk job.
Right. So, talented people who run businesses, nobody advertise for them. Usually, the best person is somebody with a headhunt.
Yes.
So what is happening now? You'll be very surprised. I make some calls to certain people that I know across the world. I only place people who know everybody, right? Know people from Europe, people know people from South America. So there are some people who may actually ask that I know everyone. And then the word got around and we get like a flood up. If I don't get 20, I don't get any of applications from people who I don't know them any at all, just come out of the blue. We also did compile a list, so we really have a list which our preferences would have been, right? And we take into consideration successful current teams and successful coaches from which country who is doing very well in the various national teams and the league. So we did that search. So is part of headhunting and part of the persons who have contacted us and said that sometimes it's player agents, sometimes it's the coaches themselves, and we're just going through those.
So one stop here, Rudolph. So people, give me a hard time about me. I try button up, but there's 365 people in the chat. There's 240 likes. I told you how hard I worked today to be able to be here and do this. I mean, I like that. So if I want to call it butt up, I'll button up and put the like button. Because I don't know me now. If they know me, then just like the like button. So me just stop the interview and got me out. But anyway, which is very unprofessional. But the YouTube's a different space.
I get a nickname for that if you just take up your marbles and go home, We have our next man to do it with you.
Well, I'm trying to learn the YouTube space because in my prior life, we don't operate like that. But anyway, so is your search both domestic and international?
Yeah. We didn't have a preference.
Right.
Anybody wants to apply, they are free to apply. The process is we're not even trying to narrow down the list yet. Sometime over the weekend we'll narrow down the list. We'll go through all of the all of the persons who have applied, and then
So you said we. Who is we?
No, we have a committee. So I'll give the list.
The technical committee, the board.
Yes,
I already talked about their board.
I'll give them the list.
Right.
Of all who have applied. I'll let them come to me straight. I'll have to go back to my phone and pick up everyone, pick up them names, give a description of them, send it to the committee. I think one of the best things is that we probably go down to about 5 people, short list, and then we'll start the interview.
But who perused the list initially before it goes to a committee, for example? Because normally the process is I get a ton of resumes in, at least in my previous job. I have somebody go to the list. Here's the criteria I'm looking for. I may go through them myself because they may miss something. Then I collate the list, right? Say it's 10 or 15 out of the 100 I get.
No, I'm going to be the one collating the list. I'm going to ask we have communication. So if those so some of the coaches who apply don't come to me straight. They go to other people in the JFF. So we're banking all of the list, banking everything. And then we come up with a comprehensive list of all who the GenSec could get some vice president. The application go all over the place. They send them all over the place.
So what's go ahead, sorry. Go ahead.
No. So what we're going to do? So I'm going to be the one who combine all of them, send them to have a meeting with the committee, and then we choose probably 5. But if we have to choose 6 or 7, there's no issues. There's no hard and fast rule. Say it have to be 6, it could be 5 or 6. If we say good candidates, we put them name there and we go through it, and then we go through them diligently one by one.
Who's doing the interviewing?
The committee.
So is it a interview where individual interviews or collective interview?
No, man, the committee and the person one would have a talk.
Okay. And what's the timeline for hiring this coach, given that we have Nations League game in September?
Well, if we're getting the end of effective 1st of August, that's what we're looking.
Right. So I don't want names, and it would not be appropriate to give me names. So I'm going to disclose them. I'll make sure that's clear to my audience because they want names. But the profile of the coaches you're seeing, would we be excited?
Yes, very.
Very excited. Okay.
Yes.
We have to get excited,
No, you wouldn't. It's not hard.
If they're Spanish, me excited. They're not Spanish. I'm not sure how excited I get. How do you intend to maintain sort of continuity and development in the team, given that the coach has now left? Because we talk about system and style of play. Players got to go revisit how they operate. I know it's international football is different, but if you change style of how you operate, you got to go revisit that. How do you plan to make it a smooth transition?
Well, we did get some stuff from the coach. I mean, it's not all bad. We have a list of all the players that he would have been speaking to before, who he would have been scouting. He has this defensive system that he uses. We have all of that on a diskette. So, I mean, when a new coach comes, they could throw it all out the door. They could do a whole heap of different things, but at least we would have a list of players who would have played for us, players who we're trying to get now, how far we reach. We have that list of all those players, the fringe players, the young players. We have about 4 or 5 different lists of players in different categories. So those will be given to the new coach, so it should make life easier for him.
Are there any special tactical or strategic changes you want to implement Are you wanting a new coach to implement to improve the team's performance?
No, I'm not the coach.
Because when they play low block football, I say that people.
Oh yeah,
football.
I'm definitely the players that is coming. Definitely them not happy playing.
So people, back up people, make it excited, people. So Rudolph, not giving on olive branch and then we get excited and you let us down, Rudolph. You just said players who are coming. Have we gotten commitment from players with certain pedigree to come join the program? Yeah or nay?
Yes.
So people don't hear that. I mean, if I first time, so everybody think my breaking news, but I heard that word from somebody. So Rudolph, I say, enough or 1 or 2? Enough is 4 or 5, right? Enough of 4 or 5, right? That's what I see.
In these eras that we need, we have addition that.
So I'm try
we have additions that indicate additions. Let me leave it right there. So we have additions.
So the coach mentioned one player. I have to throw it out there because the kid didn't get mentioned. Unfair to the kid. Is that player part of that group? Just bow your head.
I don't know which player they mentioned.
There's only one player they mentioned, the Ireland. You never watch the Ireland press conference?
No.
They mentioned one player's name. We're not going to mention it then. Even though people, he tells me nothing offline, by the way. One probably thinks that Rudolph talked to me offline all the time now. And I say, go. Rudolph, give me one-word answers. Rudolph can come to the program. Yes. No. He doesn't elaborate. He's very economical or frugal with his words, frankly, when he communicates with me. So I say, you come on? Yes or no. That's it. There's no long conversation. Can you tell me who the coaches are you're going to select? Are you out of your mind? That's the only time you got long people. And I do appreciate it.
I didn't use that word. I said, you wish. That was
well, that was like 2 words, right? More than the 1 word. So what do you want to leave the people? So people, here's something we have gotten from Rudolph, which is the process is going well. The process is inquisitive. These are my own words. We have a number of people going to get excited about. I hope it's possession football. Because, by the way, I have a new tune coming out, people, on possession football. I'm going to drop it soon. So Rudolph can hear it, so he knows what we're looking for. And then also people, he also says we should be excited about players in the pipeline, which we all have been talking about a number of players for a while. We hope it's those same players. I'm not going to drop any names because we know what the names are. What do you want to leave the people with, Rudolph? What do you want to leave them with? Because people are, well, before I go, say this, people. This is important, right? Rudolph is here. The coach also mentioned the fan support for the team. Lack thereof when he was leaving. And my understanding is Ireland, which is Republic of Ireland, not Ireland, has, I was told today, I haven't checked it, has 24 season ticket holders. That means 24,000, not 24. 24,000 season ticket holders, and they travel with the team, which means most of the time they probably don't get enough seats when they travel. Point I'm trying to make, we don't support the football people. We know it's another company about J50 this and J50 that. We are just as bad, say the JFF is bad, as the JFF, as the players, everybody else, as the sponsors, because we ain't doing our part. This is not because Rudolph is here. I'm saying this. I've said this before in my program, so I'm saying while he's here. So Rudolph, what are you guys doing to change the dynamics and to change that situation?
So yeah, everybody believe that I do everything at the JFF. I don't even go to the JFF office a month sometime. I am not in charge of marketing. I don't know. I am in charge of technical and I'm on the finance committee. I don't know what they're doing. So you have to ask somebody. It's not my question that currently.
Okay. That has to be addressed. So people, I've been told that my video is on Made for Kids. No, it's not. I just didn't put any linking on it. That's why some of you can't comment. Maybe that's a good thing. I was going to beat me too much. But I'm sorry about that, people. I didn't know that was the case. I just got a text saying that, actually. So Rudolph, as we go forward, is there a concert in terms of how we're working between the JFF, 876, whether them doing the marketing, trying to reach out to fans? How do we bring the community together, Rudolph, to be seamless, working together to achieve a common cause? Not just going to World Cup, just how we support the football, how we encourage the players. And that is that you? I heard a lot of noise in the background.
No, that was me, sorry.
And that cascades out to other things, right? The more players are seeing them being supported, the more interest you'll have. How do we do that? How do we garner that collective community to be better?
Well, look, we actually have 2 persons who is supposed to be helping us with those things. We have an international company of 876 as a local company. But again, the stadium is not going to be full until we start win more regularly than that. You know, we are really wagonists, and that's what we are. As soon as we start to win, people start to feel good. They'll come to the stadium. I must tell you, Kranky, in the Premier League final, there was at least 22,000 persons in the stadium. National team matches don't get that amount of persons
Right.
yet. So, but I still believe that we need to start with more. There was a time when we used to lose too often, and as I said before, there wasn't that one marquee player that people wanted to see. I'm hoping that will change soon. And as I said before, if the players that I told you about comes pretty soon, all of that will change because people will want to see those type of players.
So before those players come, because we have had conversations, I know you say things have improved, right? So maybe I'm dating on this. Between what the coach is talking about professionalism, before what we have heard from some other players espousing that perspective, what are we doing to make sure that those players who are joining and who also may have certain pedigree, that they come to an environment where they know what? They love the environment, everything about it. Professionalism, facilities, support system. It's what I'm just talking about, the collective. How we create that energy. Because you look at the Colombia game yesterday against Uruguay, full of Colombians. My friend was in Vegas and he called me and says, why do we have 24,000 people in the stadium, 23,900 Ecuadorians and 100 Jamaican? Right? So what are we doing to make sure those players, when they come, are in a very supportive environment?
You see, that is because you believe that we're not supportive. There's no such truth.
No. What I'm talking about, Jeff. I'm just saying. Well, okay, go ahead.
No. It don't get any better than what we provide, really. So we know that basically, whenever we get the new coach, we're going to be sitting down with the coach as a coach. You are from a different environment from us. What is it you need? We have always tried our very best to give the coaches everything that they ask for. I mean, if they ask for 10 things, they might not be able to get the 10 things, but I'm sure our record would have been, they would have gotten 8 or 9 out of the 10 things that they asked for. So as I said before, if you look just back on this team, we had a physical trainer, but we get another. The coach asks for next time we give him, right? We have a physio, the coach asks for a different physio, we give him. We have an analyst, the coach asks for a different analyst, we gave him. We have a goalkeeper coach, he asks for our next goalkeeper coach, we gave him. He hasn't asked for anything that we haven't given him. So the next coach, if the coach comes and doesn't ask for, when he speaks to his players, he doesn't ask for what he wants. Generally, people would say the JFF don't know what a professional setup is. So we are depending on the coach that comes to ask for what he wants to ensure that the players are in a professional setup. And most of the time, as I said, 90% of the time, 90, maybe more, 95% of the time, anything the coach asks, I will give it to them. And that's what we're going to do.
Is there anything you think could have done to prevent the situation from occurring, which just occurred in terms of Hallgrimsson leaving without clarity around why he's leaving, why he left?
Yeah, as you say, I think he should have just come to us, just like when we were trying to get him to come. We sat down for probably a month and a half, and went through everything. We'd have thought that if he wanted to leave, he just come and say, you know what, I wanted to leave. And if he had done that, and we say, okay, go. I think we'd have said yes, but he could have said, okay, I'll leave with the notice that is even in the contract, the 1 month. It would have given us time to get a new coach, and I think everything would have worked out fine.
Does the next coach have to live in Jamaica?
Every coach that come here is a requirement for them to live in Jamaica.
Well, Anderson lived there for a while and then just get up and leave. So leaving may be a good sign that he doesn't want to be there.
I will figure that. Yeah.
And what will be the objective of the next coach? Is it just to qualify for the World Cup, or is it an expansive remit, much more expansive remit?
That is number 1 and number 2 objective. Qualify us for the World Cup. The other objective would be start to look for the team that is going to play in 2030 if you figure that it will change that much.
So will the coach need to work with not just the senior team, but given that you're creating a center of excellence, we're going to have the best young players across the island, having some place to demonstrate their skills and be developed. Will the coach be involved in that?
No, because remember we have somebody from FIFA who is a
Right.
specialist at talent identification that is heading up that. The coach, we don't want to give the coach too much work. We want him to focus
Yeah, but
because
international coach don't have too much work, Rudolph. Them have windows. And then some of them
no,
have 4 windows in a 1 year, if they're
no, no, no,
lucky.
no, 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 no. If him really do a good job, him come to work every day, even though they're not playing games, try to find the best players, the best look through the tips, try to find the best combinations, etc., the best system to use against different teams. Him should eat and sleep football every single day, even although he's not playing games. And that is what I expect my coach to do when we're planning to coach the national team. Because even if him don't play in a month, we get him play same way, I expect him to work.
Given that most of the players in the team either plays in Europe, or most of them play in Europe, some in the US, will you change sort of construct in terms of where the coach may have some of those engagement with the players? Like, for example, would he have sessions in Europe, for example, versus in Jamaica? Because a lot of times, and if you're saying you're bringing more players, and I assume they're coming from Europe, most of them going to be in Europe. So it's more and more convenient for the players, maybe even for him, in terms of bringing all the players together easily. Because come to
Look,
Jamaica is 9 hours from Europe and it's not from
no,
England. It's
no, no.
not the
But
easiest place to
Kranky,
come
the
to.
way professional football is now, the club's only going to release the players in the FIFA windows.
Right. Okay.
And every FIFA windows we have game. So that's the only time we're going to be seeing them. And
Okay.
they'll have to be where the games are.
Okay. What do you want the fans to know before we conclude this discussion?
Well, I want the fans. I know a lot of fans kind of panicking, some of them, because they must say, oh, we met the coach gone. Even though them see when I was saying them didn't want the coach, them panicking. I don't know where they get this trust from to believe that we will be able to replace the coach. I'm just assuring you that we will be able to replace the coach, probably get a better coach too. And also I want to assure you that
Whoa, people. Rudolph,
I
Rudolph
want
just
to
extolled the
assure you
verge of this course. I'm getting to
and I
reduce the
want
ranking, 67 to 53.
yeah.
Making Nation League semifinal should have beat the US. I was at the
No,
game.
but we're going to drop back a little because of we lost the
No, I
3-1.
understand. But I'm just saying, you say I'm probably better coach. I'm talking about, okay, look, we all would want that, right? If we can get a coach we believe, which I call a modern coach, and you all know where I think the preference should come from, and that coach can supersede what this coach has achieved, then I think we'll all be happy in some respects. And especially because I think going to the World Cup is a point in time accomplishment. It has to be bigger than that.
And no, Frankie, I don't agree with that. So let me finish. But the coach that we're getting is also a coach that has the respect of the players
Right.
because say some players not playing for certain coaches. You could have deals, some players are gonna say, why am I coming here to play for the coach that them don't know? So all of that we take into consideration. Must be somebody that the player will respect because they have a track record. And as I said before, yes, Cranky, I disagree with you. Going to the World Cup is the most important achievement a country can have, especially a country from ours. The amount of money, the players who get the bonus, they are happy. The coaching staff get their bonus out, they are happy. The people who work in the JFF get them bonus, they're happy. And we get enough money to spend on development. We are not putting the development of the country in the coach's hand. Not for the first teams where male and female.
Okay.
Development of the country is we have it in other hands. Like as I said, FIFA and us working together for that, for those things, and CONCACAF working together closely to develop for the development of the country. So people calm, rest assured. You're going to get a coach that you're going to be happy about, and you're going to get more players that you're going to be happy about.
So my point wasn't that we shouldn't make all efforts to make the World Cup. My point is this: I'm not getting any younger. We made one since '98. That's 26 years ago. I want sustainability of making World Cups. I want structure, process, system, support to enable us to make multi-World Cups, not just one. This is the easiest time to ever make the World Cup in this region. Because 3 of the top teams are the home countries. We have 3.5 spots, but we could call it 4 that we can make. That means I know the imperative of making it here. But when 2026 done and 2030 comes around, and hopefully we're around still, we gotta be in a position to be able to make the next one.
No, and it's not what we're doing now, Cranky, and I keep on. People don't even talk about these things because there's no thing that asks me a question about those things. But what we're doing now First of all, we have the next 3 under 17 team in a training already. So I'm saying what we're doing now with the process, we have under 14 girls in training. They are going to be trained for 3 years before they go into the World Cup qualifier. So what we're doing now is a far cry from what we used to do. Coaching, education, club license, everything. We're building out the blueprint for success. So when we start go to the next World Cup, we just go to every World Cup after that. And that's the blueprint we're building out in the back for success. But now it is so important for us to go to the World Cup because that just boosts the country right away. Where other kids will want to play the game more now because them see us, playing in the World Cup, Jamaica itself. So that is a big boost for the country once you go to the World Cup. So that is why I think we must get there. And we have to put out all the stops to get there.
I think we should also put out all the stops to get the fans in the stadium. I can imagine the players who can play the 3/4 empty stadium. That can't be the best feeling, especially when they come from teams where the stadiums are sold out, right? So I think the collective approach of sponsors, business community, fans, JFF, coach, players, we all got to be on the same page,
right,
to enable the program success.
And I will tell my name 876 what you said, that them need to do a better job and fill the stadium. I'll pass on that.
No, it's not just 876, it's everybody, it's all of us, right? It's not just 876, it's all of us. Rudolph, I appreciate you being here, sir. I didn't ask you about, because I want to have future interviews. I didn't ask you about what you're doing in the future. This was about the coach past and the coach coming up, right? That was the purpose of this interview. But I look, as usual, I tell you, I appreciate you coming on. I know I get beaten sometimes about some of these things, but as you know, I'm not really care. But I appreciate you being here. And if any point you want to make before you leave is up to you.
No, that was the main point. People circle. We have it. We have it. The names that we're getting is some real big names. So we have it. A lot of people are showing interest.
Somebody said they have a question here. CC, I didn't see a question, CC. I didn't notice I didn't take any question, people, but this whole thing. And I'm looking for a question here to take. I don't see anyone. CC, I didn't see a question. You want to repose it? Or CC, you can call in. People, let me apologize for that. You know what, Rudolph? Don't leave yet, Rudolph. Give me about, I have 20 more minutes on my program. I try to finish on time. There's a whole number. People, if you want to call in, Rudolph, can you stay for another 20 minutes?
Sure.
All right, so here's a number on the screen, people. I apologize, people. I probably should have taken some questions, but I had to get mine out. 347-728-8625. If you want to ask Rudolph Speid a question, please call into the number. And you just don't want to sit here and look at me because I'm not that handsome or that, a picture. I'm not a poster. He wants to get questions in, people. So please bring your questions here. Tuffy Rudy, I'll come to that later on about the Greenwood situation. I think the coach answered it the wrong way, but that's just me. By the way, he punted the question to saying the JFF want to bring in the player. Good. Whoever just called, you got dropped, actually.
You said the JFF wanted to do what?
They asked him the question because, Ireland is going through a problem. Means you got to call back on the 347 number. Sorry. Because that's not connected to my system. They asked him a question. Please call the 347 number on the screen, anyone who's calling. They asked him a question about Greenwood. Because, Ireland there's some allegations being made by their women's football team about sexual assaults on their players. And they asked him the Greenwood question, which is, I guess he wanted Greenwood. He said something about Greenwood recruit him, and he punted and say, well, his answer was political because the president and the GenSec wanted the player, and he just gave a political answer to say he wants the best player, sort of inferring that's not what he meant, right? He did also say at one point, at the other part in another interview, that the player has gone through the process and is not being convicted in a crime and whatever, but he punted the question, frankly. That's what he did. He sort of pushed it off on the JFF or on the president and the GenSec versus saying, you know what? Whatever his perspective was for trying to bring the player in. And frankly, the press didn't do the best job because if they did, they'd have followed up with another question about another situation, but that's just me. They were thinking, why is the phone... Sorry, people, you're calling in, but somehow the phone is dropping the call, and I don't know why. Because I see you calling in. I try to answer it, but it's not answering. So let me just check something. I apologize for that, people. Call again, please. Jason, go on. I know you were trying to call in. Let me just... No, everything is connected. I'm not sure why the call is being dropped, actually. And this phone is special for this channel, so I'm not sure why it's being dropped. So Jason's calling again. Let me see what's happening. Mr. Gunnar, good night. Can you hear me? No, you're not coming. Something is wrong here. Okay, I got you. Go ahead.
You want me to try to call back?
No, go ahead. They can hear you. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Yeah, big up Kranky, big up Mr. Speed, big up to all the viewers and everything.
You can hear him, Rudolph, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, cool. Respect. Yeah. So I had a couple of questions. The first one, Mr. Speed. I just want to ask. Actually, I heard the coach today. I know you say you didn't get a chance to see his press conference with Ireland. Of course, I was planning on doing a show later, so I'm trying to get all the information I can. So I did watch it, and he mentioned that he had a talk with the president of the JFF prior to the COPA. Did the president make that conversation public to everybody else at that time?
I know about the talk.
Okay, so you would have been informed before the COPA that of the coach's plans to resign after the COPA.
That wasn't the exact words. That wasn't the exact words.
Okay, so the message that you received or what you took from it was not that he would be resigning after.
Definitely, he had concerns and him thinking about it. That's the understanding that I had.
Okay, also you mentioned in November last year, he would have voiced some concerns as well after our home leg of the Canada series. That's correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So him coming to you with like concerns prior to the COPA then wouldn't necessarily give you any, sign that he was planning to resign, as he would have done something similar prior to the COPA. He also did it after the game in the Nations League. So I could understand why maybe you guys wouldn't have known that.
No. Let me stop you right there. I knew he wanted to leave. He moved out of Jamaica from in January. And there were some other decisions taken that I never thought they were inspired. And I went through them before. So
yeah, I heard you mention the amount of players in the World Cup squad.
That wasn't training.
Kind of something.
That wasn't training.
Right.
Yeah. Which to me is like I mean, I coach you might call it a bush league team, but not even my team that couldn't happen to. I mean,
by the way, we were asking the same question, by the way. But we didn't want to get accused of being just one of
so clearly, you could as you said, the focus wasn't there. For those mistakes that we made, the focus wasn't there.
Right.
Any other question, Jason?
And then Mr. Speed. Yeah, hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Yeah, so my question then, Mr. Speed, would be, you would have had an inkling that this was going to happen, based on him moving in January and everything. What really? Kind of steps?
No, that's not the inkling that I had. Kranky will tell you the inkling. I don't want to say it on TV.
Okay, so half your inkling. Cool. Understood. Well, my question to you, Mr. Speed, because the way you're coming across with everything and your communication, because I've seen you making the YouTube rounds, and respect to showing love to all the different platforms and everything, but you would have seen this coming in some sense, right? So my question to you is, is this process of you finding a new coach, is this something that would, once you got the resignation from him, or is this something that you've kind of been actively doing as much as you can prior to getting the actual resignation?
No, all right. So as I was trying to explain before, I know a lot of people all over the world in football, right? So once anything happens, I can take up my phone and make a couple calls, Europe, South America, everywhere, and say, I need this, that. Tell me what you think and all of that, right? So I didn't need to. I wasn't searching before because there was no vacancy, and it's a different argument when there's no vacancy to talk to somebody than when there is. It's a much different argument, trust me. So, and again, if you start to talk to people before there's a vacancy, they will think that you'll do them the same thing. So I don't operate like that. But I would have said before, I made a post in my board group to say, this is likely long before it happened, based on what I was picking up, right? So the board wasn't caught unawares. I had said, this is likely to happen, which is what my job is, to make sure we take care of Jamaica first. And then it was, as I said, the arguments here and are. I saw other things like I mentioned them before, close, whole heap of things, who pick the focus, probably some errors in substitution, World Cup qualifiers, we got through by skin of our teeth, shouldn't have happened. All those were signs for me that something wasn't right. But at the same time, it's a modern world. You don't need to be preparing 5-6 months before to get that. I mean, if you go on some sites, you see all the coaches that are available for that is out of a job and transfer market. So it's not nothing hard to pick up in a couple of days what is available out there and what you can get. So I didn't have to make a jump. I also knew that we were playing in September 5th, and if anything, I had some time. But what was more important was that the World Cup qualifier is 1 year time, and I knew of that too, and I could have been patient.
Understood. Well, knowing what your answer was to my question, I just want to know, like, I know you don't want to probably talk about them that much because it's not really means much to the JFF at the end of the day. But when you contrast what you just described to how the Irish FA went about hiring Hallgrimsson, talking to him while he's employed and things of that nature, I mean, surely you don't look at what they did in this light.
No. Look, Jamaica people, we have a ways. Usually, most of us are honorable people, I think. So everybody go about things are different. In Europe, they have a more cutthroat mentality in the football world because that is because of the amount of money. So all of these people who run these associations would have had clubs and they would have that cutthroat mentality. My based on the coach and myself get along and before I would have thought that if him really have a problem, which him usually if my other problem would ask me to say, listen, Speed, I have a problem, I would have said that on his disposition. I was kind of shocked of how it transpired. I would have said, make we work it out. We know months before instead of him still him reach a position where I wouldn't even have told him to tell the players before him play a game because I thought he was just a lame duck coaches after that start to make the run that I'm not sure if he must stay. And then when he did say he must leave, before a game, you just become a lame duck coach, sorry, and that just don't help any at all. I wouldn't have done it that way. I would have finished playing out.
I think.
And then after, I said,
Jason, I have other calls coming in, Jason. So can you answer the last question because I have other callers?
Yeah, no, that was it really. I just wanted to ask him how he felt about how he was tapped up and just kind of juxtapose that to how he wants to go about him doing his thing. So
okay.
I got those answers. Thank you very much. And
right,
yeah, man, keep up the good work, Kranky.
So
good evening.
Give me a good work. All right, cool.
Good evening. Good night. Who am I speaking to?
Parish Council in the building.
Parish Council, what's the question for Mr. Speed?
Me send my super chat, see jump up on the screen.
I'm sorry, I apologize. It's been a busy. I don't have any help. I'm trying to get this done. I apologize.
Yeah.
So ask the question. You get a chance to ask it now. Whatever the super chat said. I appreciate the super chat.
Well, you can't ask anybody in the YouTube space. Under 20 is the most important thing in my opinion. Right now, we have games that come up in September. Fine. Coach leave. Fine. New coach who come. Fine. Me see the under 20 team come out. And me not hear nobody ask Mr. Speed, why is the team leaving on the 17th? Excuse me. And I play the big bad mighty USA on the 19th. I want to send you them for go to take 6 and 7. What kind of preparation is that to leave Jamaica on the 17th of July to go Mexico to go play USA under 20 team for a World Cup qualifier on the 19th? We don't talk about senior team. The under 20 is just as important.
So what's the question?
The question is, why is the team leaving on the 17th to go play a USA? Maybe if it was Cuba, I could have said, boy, we underestimate Cuba, which we shouldn't do. But we play in USA, the first match, the team were most likely to top the group, if we want to be fair. Why is the team leaving on the 17th to go play a match, the 19th? Would Rudolph Speid do that to Cavaliers?
So Rudolph, you're saying that the travel arrangement doesn't seem to be
So
optimum for the team.
So you shouldn't ask question if you know the answer. We have done that because in the Caribbean, flights are difficult. Everybody know that plane don't go everywhere every day on the same time like some other countries. I mean, flights are so difficult in the Caribbean that we have to ask the FIFA and CONCACAF for special dispensation because of the difficulties that we have with flights from the Caribbean. However, I can't answer you 100% because I am not a part of operations. People believe that me do everything and me book all the ticket in my JFF. I don't even go to JFF some months. So I can't answer you 100%. But
yeah, but Mr. Speid, as an owner of a club and as a manager, as a coach, an elite coach, maybe we most qualified coach in Jamaica. I would like to believe that you would at least said to the people then that only cannot send a team. I may ask, would you do that to Cavaliers?
Because you keep on assume, say me involved in everything in the JFF, which is
I'm not saying involved. I'm saying would you like that as a coach? You're a coach.
But I'm telling you that I've gone to Caribbean club matches and reach less than 48 hours because there's no flight anywhere else except what we could get, or so we have to travel out from the week before, which we can't afford to stay so long. That is one.
Mr.
But this man don't want to answer him, you know. You just a talk and you know want to get an answer from me. So
I hear you clearly, my boss.
So when I spoke to the coach a long time ago, and I don't know if that is the case now, we were discussing the whole idea that if we're playing in altitude, what was the best time to reach there? Is it the day before? Some people even go the day of the game if them playing a high altitude because it takes you 2 weeks to acclimatize. If you can't go the 3 days before, because if you go 3 days before, based on how your body going to react to the high altitude, you're dead. You just walk on the field. So we were discussing, and it's a scientific thing. If you go, you'd have to go 2 weeks before, or you have to find other ways to make sure you can cope with the altitude. So I think without being 100% sure, some of that is the reason why they're going as late as they could for that reason.
Any other question, Parish Council?
Well, my thing was really about the under 20, you know, and then
under 20 we just talk about.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he
so
understand. He
then
understand.
If I had any other question, but I also like to talk about the team selection. But guess what? The team don't pick already, and I just have to support who gets selected.
Yep.
So I have no more question. That was my question. In the answer to my satisfaction, and him honestly say him not 100% sure.
Right.
No,
so
I'm
I'm
not.
gonna hold him to his word. But
me and the coach had that conversation about what the best time for reach. But me no remember, I don't know if that. I don't.
Yeah, so Kranky, maybe you can check. You gotta do one checks as to see when it's USA landing, when it's Costa Rica landing, and when it's Cuba landing in Mexico.
Right.
To see if we're doing we did a a collective thing to say, okay, what time the opposition them are reach, and then maybe we can do something similar to say we have a level playing field.
Right.
But we really want to point out, Mr. Speid and the listeners and you to Kranky that the youth team them just as important. The coach already left. The coach get a job. We have to get a coach. We have to get a coach. If it even means our money is man to coach them, the country have to get a coach.
I thought you want the coach. I thought you wanted the coach, Carla.
Yeah, but somebody have to coach the team, and that is why Mr. Speid has said relax.
Okay.
I mean, so
no.
I'm sure there are people coming.
So, Carla, before you go, let me say this. Because people, and this is important, people in chat. That's one of the reasons why I'm on YouTube. So you had a very good question, but there's two things about asking the question. There's the how and there's the what. The question was substantive, but the delivery was hard to digest. It's important in an environment that the how marries with the what. What do I mean by the how? How I position the question, which is, I'm going to deliver it antagonistically, so the person going to be defensive. I'm going to deliver the question when the person appreciate the question, It may be a difficult question, and they can answer it. All right, Parish Council?
Maybe the voice a little low.
Yeah, it was a very aggressive Parish Council. Trust me, it was very aggressive. Because right away, if people are aggressive to me get aggressive with them same way. But we appreciate the question. It's a very good question you're asking. But the delivery, the delivery, me skin a crowd with the delivery. Parish Council, I tell you the truth. But the question is a very good question, which is, are we giving the team the best opportunity to win if they're going to travel just before the game? And as Rudolph is saying, there's two schools of thought. One is I'm there for a long time to acclimate, or I go and get out, basically.
Yeah. And again, as may I stress, people, we're going to get a coach. We don't need to be coming and I mean, beat a Kranky because the topic is there to be talked about.
Right.
But we have to get a coach. It's Jamaica. We have to get a coach. There are other aspects of the game. Most importantly, like I don't see why the under 20 for me and Mr. Management can tell you from last year. Me I talk about this under 20 thing. I haven't heard from the coach either. So
right.
that should have been another question for me to ask. When are we going to hear from Jerome Waite? A man with many words. We have heard a lot of interviews from Jerome Waite. And I would love to hear from the coach here what he must say about the under 20 as well.
Yeah, but he was on mainstream TV, you know. Jerome, more than once.
Well,
you know. Sorry, mainstream media more than once.
Regarding this under 20 team?
Yeah, man, he was on like we call it the evening program on RJ. I heard him on it.
Love 101 or Gospel 95. Yeah, it's
no,
92.
You see, them don't want to come on these channels because I own a treat them.
Well, nobody now treat Jerome with man. You know
really?
That. You know
I'll when Jerome the day them are treating bad in the comment section. And I'm not here.
All right, bless up on yourself, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the call. Parish Council. And thanks for the super chat, by the way. So Warrior, you're saying I'm disrespecting the caller. No, I did it publicly for a reason. And when after this call, I'll explain my rationale. Because Warrior, my comment was also for people like yourself, actually. Good evening. Sorry. Good evening. You're on Kranky Live. Hello?
And everyone.
Hello? Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's your question?
Awesome. Well, even so, I just had two, a statement and a question for Mr. Speid. I wanted to ask Mr. Speid if he could just pause and let us know if he will give us his best shot at getting this new coach. Can the Jamaican people trust you in getting the best coach for us this time around? The other question was, how will we be looking financially upon the selection of this incoming coach? Will the JFF be impacted negatively financially, or will we be around the same where we had it with Hallgrimsson?
So first, just to say, I was the one who got Hallgrimsson to come here. That was most people didn't even know somebody by that name, but we searched, and I thought he did a good job for a year and a half. Honestly, I thought so. Right? I wouldn't have. It could have been better, but I wouldn't have had an issue. I had no issue with him for a year and a half based on what he did. So that's our track record there. And I've said before, we'll probably get a better coach. And I said before, we'll get better players too. So I suppose you just have to wait and see. But the wait is not that long. I think we're just impatient. I'm looking to get the coach in by 1st of August. Let us see what happens.
And he was also asking about the process, which is
the process is that we're giving people until the end of this week for them to put in their applications. On the weekend, we'll go through the list, compile a list, ask the members of the technical committee to decide the better candidates. Then we will interview or sit down and discuss them. Interview who we need to interview. Some people don't need to be interviewed, you know. We know some people at the list who don't need to be interviewed. You just hear the name and you know, say, okay, they must be on the short list. And then present it to the board. The board is the one who make the final decision. We'll present about 5 in the order of preference after we have gone through the people. I'm joking though. We will interview all of them just to make sure that we didn't miss some. But then we go through we set it in the order of preference, maybe 5, maybe 6. There's no hard figure. Maybe 3, if that's what we see suits us. And the board will decide. Of course, people, economics is always a factor.
Awesome. Just want to say that we are really, really excited, and I know economics is a factor, but I hope that that next coach, that decision, it won't, impact the decision too much. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful night.
Sorry,
thanks, Scholar.
Sorry, what do you mean by that? You mean because the coach resigned?
No, I'm saying that based on economics, we have to select a coach within our budget. Right. So I'm hoping that.
No, Carla. You haven't heard anybody from JFF in the last year talk about them need. Carla, don't you know when people have money, they don't talk about money? You know, hear them cry about money when they first come on YouTube, we don't have any money. We have barely have a surplus. Even when they have surplus, the debt was high. You know, debt pay down anymore. You're no surplus. They're not struggling for money, Carla. They're not. Carla. Money's not the issue. It's about getting competent coach now. Now, money's always the issue. We can't go hire Pep. Pep make about $16-17 million a year. But you can get a good coach for $500,000 a year. That's all I have to say. So
thank you, the Irish bought one for that.
Yeah, the Irish just bought one for that. Yes. Thanks, Carla. Okay. People, if you want, I know a couple of people were trying to call and the line was busy. Thanks, Carla. If you want to call in, Rudolph is not here all evening. We'll do this for about 10 more minutes if you want to call in. And Rudolph, again, I'm going to say this because I say this in front of people's face. On top behind the back, I appreciate you being here. It's always a good conversation with you. You're a very confident person because people think I had a pre-prepared questions for your list for you. I don't do prepared. We didn't have that, right? This was all impromptu question. Not impromptu question. They were prepared question on my part, but I didn't share that list with you. I want to be clear with people. And I'm sure I'm going to get grief afterwards. Say you didn't ask him A and didn't ask him B. You can't ask him a simple question. Here's my last question for you. And someone else asked the question actually in a different way, which is this. So if we learn from what just transpired with the coach and we're going forward, and we know coaching situation always volatile, do we have succession planning in place? At some point, we got to go local. This is going to sound strange coming from me, but I think you should go local eventually at some point. I know you're doing the coaching clinics and all that. What's that time period when you can say, you know what? We have somebody with a pedigree that everyone can be comfortable with, that's locally developed, or of the same descent to be the coach for Jamaica?
So that is such a brilliant observation. Actually, yes, at some point we need to go all local because.
One second, Rudolph. Caller, please hold a second. Rudolph's answer question. Please hold a second. Go ahead, Rudolph. Sorry.
Yeah, because the statistics says that countries that the better are coached by coaches that is born in their domicile. So that's what the statistics say, right? Either for qualify for the World Cup or the winning percentages. Those persons have a higher percentage. And there's some inherent bias in those comparisons, but it's there. So at some point, we need to get there. What I'm concerned about is not necessarily the people who are at the forefront now in Jamaica of coaching is going to be the ones that will get those jobs in the future. Because what is going to be happening is that young coaches being exposed to modern coaching methods at a younger age will probably advance faster than the people who are there with more age. And so what we are trying to do is to get a big pool of coach. We're building the pool and let the cream rise to the top, and you will see those coaches coaching Jamaica in the near future.
1 second, Carl, I apologize for this, but one more thing on that same point. Is the JFF working to get, if you have coaches who come into the ranks and they're brilliant coaches and they have the potential, will the JFF have a mechanism in place to try to help those coaches get positions outside of Jamaica to get the required exposure to then be able to come back to Jamaica, like a Lauren Donaldson have done for the women's team, to coach in Jamaica, or coach in Jamaica national team? Sorry, Carl, I apologize for that.
No. We are not. We are going to be making sure that the coaches are so in demand, because right now, if you look at it, we have an A license in Jamaica. There's no other Caribbean country except Trinidad and ourselves who is doing this. There's only, not even the USA of the A license that we have. It's only Canada And so you are going to be seeing that people are going to be taking notice of our coaches. I'm just saying that as soon as these coaches rise, then they'll be exposed. We have a plan in place where the national senior team coach is supposed to walk with one of those coaches, different coaches, every single tour to help their development.
Okay. Caller, go ahead, caller. I apologize profusely. Go ahead. Caller?
Thank you. How are you doing, Chris?
Go ahead, caller. Good night, caller. I'm waiting for this one. Go ahead, caller.
How you doing, Mr. Speed?
I'm good.
Okay. I want to make sure that my tone is correct so I don't get beaten here. Is my tone all right, Kranky?
Yeah, the tone is good. By the way, people, it's a good friend of mine. We talk almost every day. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
I don't want to get beaten tonight. That's all for that.
Okay.
Mr. Speed, you have a big challenge in your hand. And what I want to add to the conversation, I know that your remit is to take care of Jamaica's football.
Yes.
However, as a Caribbean person, I think you would appreciate that as far as the World Cup is concerned, I would personally like to see 3 teams from the Caribbean, completely English-speaking Caribbean in the World Cup. But we know that's not going to happen, right? I'd like to see 2, Trinidad and Jamaica. We don't know who's going to get there, but your process is open. You know, you come, you talk to the fans, you talk to the stakeholders, and you try to share information on what's going on, which is a little bit different from what takes place in other parts of the Caribbean. So I think, could you see your responsibility to get Jamaica to the World Cup as not just a responsibility to Jamaica, but the wider English-speaking Caribbean? And so in selecting a coach, I think from my perspective, it asks me, I know the game is coming up in September, but the main goal is to get to the World Cup. Do you think it's too soon? Are you rushing the process to try to get one in by the 1st of August? Or would you need more time to make sure you get it right? Or should you take more time to make sure you get it right?
All right, so 2 questions. One, no, I see myself as a Caribbean person. I have an extensive collaboration with people from across the Caribbean. We even have an MOU with Trinidad as we speak, and we want to have other MOUs because it don't make
people,
sense.
That's a memorandum of understanding. It's not insulting anybody's intelligence. I'm just making sure
So, yes.
the acronym is clear.
Yes. And we want to have more with other nations.
Huh?
Go ahead, Mr.
We want to have more with other nations in the Caribbean because we don't want what happened to Mexico happen to us. What happened if we beat everybody in the Caribbean and we don't get any competition in the Caribbean, we won't get better. So we need them to get better. So we and look here, if they get better and pass us, then it's our fault. So we need the Caribbean to get better. And that is why we are in Trinidad working so closely with the coaching school. So we'll be able to get coaches from all over the Caribbean to come to both of us to be educated, not just our coaches alone. And we'll be able to have exchange programs with them. We exchange knowledge and can go to their facilities and stay there, free or close to costs. So all of those things I see ourselves as uplifting the whole Caribbean, not just Jamaica. And I would really like us and Trinidad to qualify for the World Cup. It would be really a revelation for the Caribbean. So that was a Caribbean thing. Now, as it relates to the coach, to pick the coach now, you see, we have to walk and chew them at the same time. Yes, we definitely need a coach for next World Cup qualifying, which is the most important. But even the process of qualifying for the World Cup, what we need is to be able to win, to keep our rankings high, just for seeding in the future. Because if you go through to the next round and say we didn't win this round, it is possible that we might find the zone that we are drawn in a little bit harder. So we have to do both things at the same time. So I don't think we're rushing. I think it's just the right time to do it.
Any other questions, caller?
Yeah, let me just as I was waiting and you were asking questions and Mr. Speid was answering, he said something that I'd just like him to clarify a little bit. You just said that not even the USA have an A license like the licensing you guys are doing right now. What do you mean by that, and what is the difference?
No. CONCACAF has to pass it. They have to certify it so you can coach anywhere in the CONCACAF. Theirs is not like that. They went on their own, so it's not at the same standard.
So they can't coach everywhere in the CONCACAF for the US if you have the US license.
CONCACAF have to the CONCACAF coaching education department.
Right.
They do their thing. They audit you. They certify you as they certify what you are doing in your environment. So the USA is not certified as far as I know. Trinidad is.
Okay.
And Canada is.
Okay. Interesting. Any other questions, caller?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
I appreciate the
Good
call.
Good luck, Mr. Speed. You have a big job on your hands.
I know. Thank you.
He loves that. He loves work. He loves big jobs.
Yes.
That's what he does. All right, Rudolph. It's past my bedtime. I appreciate you being here. It's always good having a conversation with you. As the caller just says, we wish you much success in the coaching search. You did indicate to us that we're going to be excited by the coach that you may select. I have a feeling, you have somebody in mind, and I have a feeling. And people say, get excited that you have somebody in mind you're excited about. So even if you have 5 or 6 people, I'm telling people, if you have 5 or 6 candidates, there's normally one person who just stand out, and you say, we can get them.
We actually have 3 really stand out. 3 ones that everybody would probably fall in love with. Right.
Okay. So people are falling in love again. People, if you have not in love, you're going to fall in love with the next person. But no, Rudolph, we truly appreciate you being here. And as the caller just said, which is important, you do spend time in the public domain communicating. And we can't say that the case for a lot of other FAs across the globe, frankly. And we appreciate it. All right, sir. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate you being here. And much success in the coaching search.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. Bless up. Thanks. Bye. All right, people. That was Rudolph Speid. As I said before, I do try to communicate to people directly about our appreciation for their contribution. I know some of you have very negative comments about some of these things, and I can understand the perception given history. But there's a reality component of this, which is the JFF is in charge. There was an electoral process. We need to support them because if you don't want to, then you better go support tennis or something. It ain't going to work. But I do appreciate you being here. And if you want to call in still, because I normally finish this at 8, it's a 2-hour program that I have. Rudolph is no longer in the line. But if you want to call in for a few more minutes, I'm here. And I'm going to close the program down. And I noticed that there's 385 people in the chat. And it's only 322 likes, but me not complaining anymore. I'm tired of complaining. Because some people just come, take information and go about their business. Someone say, go easy and Speed is an accounting thing. No, it's not. People, you can tell me, you think I was easy? It's not about being easy. I asked the question I think that should be asked. I think some people just want to beat whoever the administration of this person is. That's not the goal. The goal is to learn, communicate, engage, get information. It's not to try to be difficult with somebody. That's not the objective. That's not the objective. So I'm not sure why we're saying that. I'm not sure why we're saying that actually to people. I tried to do an interview. Thank you, Megatron. I tried to get intelligence information for your consumption. I don't come here to beat anybody, people. I'm telling you that right now. That's not my goal. That's not my job in life. I believe that we as a society, as a people, need to be much more together, need to engage each other in a better way. Somebody called me out for supposedly embarrassing the caller. That wasn't about the caller. That was about a lot of you guys. The reason why I brought this in the public domain, because it needs to be important for you to hear the communication, which is, if you're coming to ask me a question in a public forum and you come at me hard, at least where I sit, I'm going to come back hard at you. If you ask me the question in a certain manner, I'm going to be more receptive to the question. And it could be the same question, just reposition. I wasn't trying to embarrass the caller. And if you received that way, I apologize for that. That wasn't my objective and goal. But I thought it was important for the information to come out to you so you get what I was trying to say. It's not okay to come at somebody hard sometimes because they come up with something in the professional environment they call the how and the what. what's the substance, and how do you achieve it? You could generate the most money for a salesperson, but if you're rude and you do it in the wrong way, that's also not acceptable. So you make me a lot of money, but the way you make that money was not appreciated. That's not good. So the question was a substantive fair question, which is, we're going to Mexico, people, and we go your day before. How could that be good for the kids who are trying to get there? The reason why I don't talk about under 20 people, this is me. You've heard me say this a million times if you follow my channel. The under 20 team have a quota. So I don't deal with nothing but the senior team. I've said this from day one. And this may not be received by people well, and I understand that. But until the quota system change, I'm not covering under 20 football. I wasn't born in Jamaica. I'm a Jamaican citizen. I grew up in Jamaica. So I think it's like, if I take it personal, I view it as something against me, which is, you're born outside of Jamaica, you're a Jamaican citizen, but you're restricted from playing in the national team. And Rudolph and I had this conversation. I don't believe in the quota system. I will never be convinced by the quota system. And I don't think the quota system is fair. That wasn't a conversation to be had tonight. We've had a conversation with Rudolph a lot of times. I understand what they're trying to accomplish, which is giving youth a chance in Jamaica. Got to be a better way to do it. So I am not trying to embarrass anyone. You hear me get upset earlier about the likes, because someone will not hit the likes unless somebody do something drastic, and that was drastic on me doing it. When I now hit the likes, I'm going to say, you know what, I'm now go further and hit the likes. Some people may hate that. It's me, I try to bad them up. And they say, when other people do it, I complain. Go ask the person they mentioned. I don't even go on those channels and comment, much as for me to comment about what they're doing. So that was an unfair comment. It may be comments I made 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I've moved on. So we all learn and grow. So look, people, it's important for us as a people. I keep stressing this, people, to be better. We have to be better. And I saw in the chat a while ago, I'm not going to call out any names, the back and forth and the language being used. Come on, people. This show is supposed to be, we're on here tonight to have good conversation, to get intelligence from Rudolph, to assess that intelligence, to ask good questions. And I apologize not to ask more of your question, but I had at least a question I wanted to ask. And I tried to use your phone line, but we can't be on it. We can't be cussing in the chat and carrying on the chat. Why? We have enough cussing and carrying on as people. We don't come to these forums to do that. We come here to have fun, learn, grow, develop, understand, get content, deliver content. Come on, people. We can do better. So management is talking about a question that came up today about, was it participation money, the $2 million for the COPA, or was it preparation money? Now, I got a documentation, which to me wasn't totally clear. I think the way it was coached was that the total monies you get, and I think there's communication by ESPN and other news agencies, which seem to suggest this is participation money. So you get money for participation, and you get separate money for preparation, inclusive of a lot of different things, hotel, transportation, all that. I have to go back and do some more reading of the document because I read part of it quickly. It appears the total money you get was inclusive of all of that, right? I don't know. But it's not clear to me that was, and I think CC had asked a question on Manning's Band channel about this, around participation money and preparation money. It says sorry, people, I'm stuttering here. Participation to me meaning everybody get $2 million for just being involved in the tournament, and then I give you extra money for preparation. It wasn't that clear to me when I read the document that talks to the whole thing, the Carnival document, as to whether the participation money included preparation money, meaning I get $2 million, I may spend $500,000 to prepare, and I have net 1.5 off the participation money. It wasn't totally clear to me, but I can see the confusion because some people, if you read, I saw ESPN article. I saw another article that talked about participation money as if it's separate and distinct from the preparation money. And that wasn't clear to me, people. So, yeah, I didn't go with it. Chris, I didn't ask this question because this discussion was just about the ex-coach and the future. I didn't want to get to under 20 because it's going to bring up a whole lot of different conversation. And it wasn't for the one today, right? It wasn't for the one today. And as I said to more people, I'm not having conversation about the other than the senior team because I don't agree with the process of selecting the under-20 team. And I can't in good conscience talk about something which I'm only going to argue about because it would not be a good conversation because I can't get off the quota to even have good conversation about quality of players, who the players are, what their pedigree, how they play. I can't even get to there because I can't move away from the quota. And if I can't do a good job of doing that, I'm not doing it. Yeah, so people, I'm going to close the channel down. And I know there's over 300 of you here. First of all, I appreciate you being here. Right? You could be any place else. You were here. You were contributing to the conversation. Uh-oh. Gunners boss, complain if I'm not taking call on that time. I said, I close them because of my call. Gunners boss, what do you have to say? You're the last caller for the evening.
Congratulations, you're happening in this place.
Well,
and you know, the rate. I said, I drive up, coming up and I say, I laugh and 8 years, and I tell me I have to pull over. And I come in and I say, I like how you stick them up to the roof. You know what? Let me tell you something. Every few of them, secretly, we have you Claudy like you. Stop responding them. That's some bad you can rush them with them. They are going with Claudy. Claudy like you. Claudy will get you.
But no, Gunners boss, Claudia called me out for the chat. You know, if you call me out in public, me have to go react. No, she no, but Gunners boss, you know me stay Gunners boss. Me not stay like other people in Gunners boss. Me listen to the chat in the Gunners boss. The catch is important. Everybody who come in this program is important. Every single person come here is important. That means they say something. I think I have to react to it in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes I probably should ignore it, but I don't like to be ignored. So why would I ignore somebody else? Right?
No, man. You've got nothing but love, man.
All right, fine. I love Claudia. I said I love her. I did say I love her.
One of the upfront females.
Yes, I agree. Claudine, I apologize profusely, Claudine. Claudine, I apologize, Claudine. So Gunners boss, I should apologize to you. I'm apologizing.
Superstar girl. She had a Kranky life firstly.
Yes. And you know I cursed her out today, and I apologize, Claudine. So if you're dear Claudine, I apologize to you.
Claudine, I was star over here, you know. Yeah. Christy with them and them. Christy with them, I want to over there when you're rabies. You see me rabies.
No, Gunners boss. Nothing, no positive Gunners boss. People. Me I'll stop ban someone in the cup. Me only deal with positive thing. We not call nobody no name. We not call nobody no bad word. No. But people coming, they're using derogatory terms. No, Gunners boss. No. We're not doing that. People, we're not going to cuss each other in the next chat. Gunners. People say if you call back your lines. Gunners, them say if you call back the line, shake it. They got the line shake. No, it's true. The line is not good. Call back. Call back. Seriously, I'm not going to hang up. Call back. All right, it's better. See, people, he had me on something. Jesus. Go ahead, Gunners boss. No, we're losing again. It's not good. Come on, get the channel right. Get your call right. Go ahead.
I was saying, right?
Yes, that's better.
I was enjoying the way how you put that scope on the viewers head and tell them. Of course, when you can't come in and the man there and the man come with one box of paper like him accountant, that means go to work. Or you come in and not even want to like the video. Come on, man, y'all gotta do better than that. Drop a like. We don't have the credit card like one of your squeeze one like $2 here and there. What Kranky don't really need. We just do it for the fun of it. So, but you drop, you have to show the man. The like mean thank you. I appreciate what you are doing, and it also drive up the algorithm. You know when I see Kranky get gone up to his party, I get all $2,000 check when he come to say, my last life give me $2,000 from YouTube. And that me come to tell you now. Yeah man, once you enter on the stream, man. I don't like it. If Kranky even ban me to call the man by name when I'm having a comment section, and I still like the video, because I still have to come like it, whether I can call or not. I still drop a little super chat and comment. See him here. That's how we do it. Let's make it thing, Bill, man. Kranky, it channel a go on. Me not tell a lie. This is some people who are on channel all 2 years and they not get so far. They are mix up the thing tonight because this was done. Mr. Speid, thank you for your services and continue being great. Kranky, you start out good and you have your head in there. So be great. And that's there. Good night, people in the comment section. Rabian, behave yourself when you come over here. That's your name, not Rabian. Rabian, behave yourself when you come over here. And don't disrespect Mr. Speid like that. Christine, if you're all over the place and act like a chicken, behave yourself. You always live on some hateful thing. Pick up yourself, my brother Travis. You don't know. Man, this year and I come in very
So
active.
Gunners Bass, my call you. Nobody get trouble like Travis. Nobody no get trouble like Travis. Nobody get trouble. I see it. You boost up Travis and you give Chris a hard time.
That's what.
You should be fair in your perspective.
Travis,
Nobody get trouble like Travis.
Travis is my brother from another mother.
All
you know
right,
what
fine.
happened? I years, if I see him Christine it with the pan this my YouTube, I years me and Christine it go at it, man. Him know say we not personal. I just how we do it. That's how we do it, you know. We not personal.
All right, Gunners. Have a good night.
Yeah, man. Bless up everybody. Have a
man.
good
Thanks
night.
for the call, Gunners. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Bless up. So Chastity, you got to be clear. You say I'm part of the problem. What problem are we alluding to? Because there's a lot of problems we have as Jamaicans. So what problem are you alluding to, Chastity? You say I'm part of the problem. What problem are you alluding to? I don't know what the problem. You have to be. You have to be much more. You have to elaborate, frankly, for me to understand what is it I'm doing wrong or not doing, so I can address your comment appropriately. But I don't know what you're talking to, so you'll have to elaborate. Travis, I'm good. Hey, Travis, no stop get trouble with people. I tell you, Travis, I appreciate you going to be here tonight. Actually, I appreciate that. We want good behavior. We're trying to promote good behavior. Period. We're trying not to promote bad behavior, Travis. I appreciate it, Travis, tonight. I see a lot of people in the comment section were having some difficulties in how they communicate, and it's not a good thing. But I appreciate you being good. It's work. And people, I know some of you are not gonna like to do this, but don't stingy with the subscribe and the likes. Give the subscribe. Even if you don't intend to watch my channel, you can subscribe now. But the numbers them grow up. I'm getting another call, people. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, even sir.
Yes. What do you have to say, caller?
Well, I told you wanted to go to bed, but you don't want to go to bed.
I do, but the calls are coming in, so I do. We don't want to ignore the people in my calling. And we couldn't go to bed without Gunners Bass call, because he might get vexed and call me and say, Kranky, you diss me. So what's your call? I want to close it. What's your call? What's your perspective?
Real quick, you touched on a couple of things this afternoon.
Right.
So let's switch the table a little bit and maybe you become the.
I'm being interviewed. Okay, go ahead.
What did you? How would you summarize what you was able to accomplish from the interview this evening?
Well, the objective was this. One is.
I mean, let's start with where you started with Hallgrimsson and the discussion with Speid about.
Right. So the Hallgrim situation is I did a lot of work today. That's why you hear me being so cranky about people not giving me likes and reviewing a lot of written documentation about the Hallgrimsson situation, the summaries that were provided by some people in Ireland, watching the press conference, which is about 30-something minutes, watching the press conference that he provided, trying to draw themes from what he was saying. And what I garnered was he was focused on environment, professionalism. Those are key things that come out. It was never about compensation, even though one wouldn't say that in the public domain, right? So I gather he was not happy with certain things that transpired with Jamaica assignment, and therefore that pushed him to leave. And I was told confidentially that part of this was about money, but to me, given the compensation I saw and what Rudolph mentioned, because he got a decent bonus for Nations League, he didn't get one for COPA because we didn't progress. He's going to get future money if he have Ireland qualify, which to me is not a surety. The compensation is 650 euros for what he's getting now. And if you convert that to US dollars, it's similar to what he's getting compensated by Jamaica. So it has to be that there are other factors which contributed to his decision to leave. And we will never get the true rationale for that, right? Having said that, I thought that Jamaica missed the trick, as I mentioned to Rudolph, in the contractual negotiation, whereby whenever somebody breaks a contract, somebody has to pay. Either the person who initiates the contract and wrote the contract, and the person who, the two parties to the contract, if you break it before the duration of the contract, somebody has to pay to narrow that gap, right? So what happens there is he was smart. He got his money for Nations League, right? He delayed Ireland, and I think Ireland is not being transparent to people. Games are being played by Hallgrimsson and Ireland. Because if he had broken his contract and signed the contract in March, then Jamaica could pursue him for compensation for doing so. And Ireland more than likely would have to pay that compensation. What they did was he got his Nations League money after Nations League, which was in March. What he then did was delay them to try to get the COPA America money, because compensation unchanged for Ireland. And then also, he resigned. And when you accept the resignation, then your acceptance then allow him to go without any set of compensation being paid to Jamaica. So Jamaica could have made money of this. If they wrote in the contract, any party who break the contract, here are the specific requirements. And if you break it, here is the obligation to pay for breaking it. Just like you see in other places, and Jamaica would have gotten some monies from this. I think Jamaica was probably happy they didn't have to pay because he left of his own volition. But that's not how it always works. Somebody's making noise outside my office here, right? That's not how it always works. So I think we missed a trick there as it relates to that. But also, having said that, I find it interesting he took that job with less talent. It's closer to home. It's a 2-hour flight. But he had less talent. He's not making more money. He has less chance of making the World Cup and achieving those bonuses he's looking to make. And yet he left the job. So there's other factors there that we don't know. Transition that now to where we are today. And Rudolph is saying, I didn't see Rudolph is saying through a wide net.
Hold on a minute before you move on.
Yeah.
I am a critical observation, not a criticism, but a critical observation.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that, I'm not in agreement with the argument that he took a job with less talent and a less chance of qualifying for the World Cup and those things.
Okay.
He took another job with two teams, with another country that is not, maybe a place or two below Jamaica.
He said the Jamaican players had higher profile than his people. His words, not mine.
And for what? But this is football we're talking about, right?
I know. So what he's basically talking about is, if you look at the players and where they're playing today, because Ireland has gone south, right? Northern Ireland has even passed them at some point. When they had the Duff and the Roy Keanes of the world, they had very good teams. They have not progressed. They had John O'Shea as an interim coach, and they fired their coach because obviously he didn't achieve their objective. So they're not where they were before. And they have he mentioned they have other young players, which he can groom. But he's the one who mentioned the profile of the players.
Young players with a lot of experience, I think is what he said. Right?
International experience. Not necessarily, international experience. Yes.
A lot of games under the belt.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So from what you're saying, which is I think the Jamaica players have higher profile. And by the way, people, you hear Rudolph say this, and I heard this on someplace else actually. Forgot where I heard it. That there are more players coming. And he inferred those more players coming have the requisite pedigree. Some could call them better players, but more players coming, people. And it's more than one or two, which is what I'm hearing. Did you hear that also?
Yeah, he's a little coy on that. But
yes. More players are coming. Yes. And we know what players we were being pursuing for the longest. So we'll see if that transpired into reality. We've been talking about this for a while.
But now, I think you're right with the contract situation, and we don't know who did the contract for them. But as you know, there's levels to things, and getting somebody who understands these situations, because they could have find themselves in a situation where it could have ended up the same way. They might have had to cancel the contract, right. But they could have been in a position where they're saying, look, you want him, we want 5 million for him, we want 2 million for him, you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that could have
they got let off the hook. They didn't have to pay a dime. They got let off the hook.
And hopefully that's something that they correct going forward.
Yeah, when you pursue a coach who's employed, you need to pay to get that coach.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be free. And they got it free.
Not just a coach. Manchester United took what's the guy named from Newcastle?
From Ajax? The administrator from Newcastle, yes.
Yeah, administrative guy, and they paid by 20 million for him, I think.
No, the biggest example was Potter. Chelsea paid Potter 20 million, paid Brighton 20 million for Potter. Yeah.
Some years ago, back in 2010, I think it was, Barcelona paid Arsenal for the groundsman. Because he was on the contract. So
no, you shouldn't be able to take my person without you compensating me for taking the person. But what he did was, when he resigned, And when you accept the resignation, then you relieve him of obligation, right? That should not have been the case. They should have said, we're not accepting your resignation. Then what is he going to do? He just then resign, and then you say you break the contract, you got to pay me.
Right.
That should have happened. But you know what? It's water under the bridge, but I think it's a lesson learned going forward for Jeff when we negotiate these things, because you get left in a lurch. Somebody leave 2 years in, you've invested in them, and then they are able to leave. So yeah.
The interesting thing for me, the concern at the moment, we just had Jesse Marsh,
Right.
who took a job in May and took Canada to the semifinals in Copa America. I think at that level, a coach really need 6 to 12 months to prepare a team. But I do understand Mr. Speid argument about the ranking. Okay.
That's a big deal, by the way. That's a big deal.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's a big
so I understand that argument having to win the games, but it's unfortunate that, well, it's not that it's unfortunate. I hope that they don't feel rushed to get somebody in by August and maybe may not, cross the T's and dot all the I's to get the right person, because I think at the end of the day, having somebody that the players would respect,
Right.
would respond to, is important. You and I spoke a little bit about culture, but in this moment, I'm talking about being able to create a culture within the team, right?
Yeah, and I think that's when the coach talks about environment, that's what part of the thing he's talking about. That he created. That he's basically saying we had cliques and separate players. I'm going to use my own words, and I brought them all together. We no longer have that. He said that when he was leaving. Actually, he said that there are people. I don't know if he used the word cliques, but he was basically saying there are people in separate camps. I made that more cohesive. So XYZ.
Right. Yeah. That's part of the coach's responsibility to create what we call a performance environment. And so I think that is an important part of getting the next coach.
You know how they are. They like to beat.
Yeah, that's right.
Because Jamaicans believe that intellectual capital only resides with them.
But you see, I understand that. I'm gonna put just for Dre anyway, and whoever else wants to read. I think I mentioned to you earlier today, there was a very good article in the Gleaner a few years ago. I think make for good reading. Because a big part of what we talking about here, I think whether it's Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, any team in the region, we have to look at ourselves as well, right?
Yeah. When
we bring somebody in, we can't just be saying we want X, Y, Z, and then we don't change anything about ourselves to make sure it works. So, but you were saying that where we are now, what did you gather from the coach's search?
Well, it seemed like the JFF is excited about the candidates that they have that have applied for the jobs, right? They supposedly cast a net wide and far, but it's mainly, and I have no problem with a relationship type search. If you have relationship in certain key places and you're getting recommendations about people and you look at their resume and the resumes excite you. So I get the sense that they're excited by this, right? Give them their philosophy, give them what they want to achieve, give them the criteria that they're looking for. It seems from what Rudolph is saying that they're excited about what it entails. And he said, we're going to be excited. And he had about not just one person, but about 3 who will create that excitement. So we're curious to see what it is. If we would be excited, right? And I would hope that it's people who play, and I get the sense from Rudolph also that they want a more, I use the word modern coach. He may use other terms, but somebody who's flexible and versatile in what they're going to apply on the football field. Not just somebody who want to play what I call low block football or mid block football. Somebody that's versatile in their thinking, who's deductive, who's innovative, and is going to bring that to the table. That's what I gather. So hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, I think there's so many different ways that you can look at it. I heard part of the conversation today about being, having a coach that's flexible. You just mentioned it as well.
Right.
A coach that's flexible, a coach could change during the game. And there's coaches at the elite level that if you take Spain, for example, and Spain going down 1-0 in the last semi-final game, and the coach was asking his interview, you went down 1-0. Did you change anything? Did you talk to the guys about changing anything? And he said to the reporter, he said, when you take the atmosphere into consideration, there's no way that I can talk to them. They'll have trouble hearing me. He said, but what we did do is that we went over every possible scenario before the match.
Right.
Which would include if they went down 1-0. Right? And the idea was if they went down 1-0 was to continue to play the way they set out to play, not to change anything. Okay. Right? Because they believe in the way they play. So when you hear those things, you think, I understand what he's saying, but there's so many different ways to approach this. And for me, being able to read the game and influence the game from the sideline is important. But when you think about, and this is down your alley, right? You were a Spanish coach. When you think about that approach in an atmosphere like that, the players went in prepared, so there's no panic. They already have the information, and you're not trying to share information with them on the fly, which could cause a little bit of panic, right?
Yeah, and I think, look, coaches have different methodologies, right? You see Arteta used to be on the sideline screaming 24/7. He's gotten a bit better of being more mature as a coach. He still does it sometimes, maybe too much, but it's less so because you've imparted your message to the player. They should be able to adapt on the field, given what's happening. You may at halftime give them certain strategies, or even the game is that bad, you may make certain changes, but you expect your players to be so informed and it's so ingrained in them about that adaptability. That's why he buy players who are flexible also. You look at what he's doing now at Arsenal, and this is not an Arsenal conversation, people, just giving an example, that you want players on the field to be able to adjust the situation. You hear Southgate talks about Saka and how Saka adjusted how he was playing defensively in the game against Holland, against Netherlands, and you're like, we all know Saka is smart. We see his GCSE. We see his football intellect. Does he want your players on the field to make good decisions, understand what's happening, and adjust to the situation? So, yeah, no, totally agree.
Well, I'm sure that Arteta, who is 21 years younger than the Spanish coach, will get there one day.
yeah. But I appreciate the call. So any other questions before you go?
No, that's fine. Good job today. Good interview. Time well spent. There's some things, as you said, you want them back. So there's some things that you probably need to continue to cover.
Well, I only covered, there was 2 topics today, right? It was the Hallgrimsson situation in terms of him leaving, the view of why he's left, the rationale for him leaving, what could we have done better, and then the prospectively, which is what are we doing going forward? What have we learned from this situation? How do we not repeat mistake? What's the process that you're going through now to source a coach? And when you do so, what does that mean for us? We will be happy. And he seemed to suggest that from a both player standpoint and coaching standpoint, we're going to be happy. So people, let me just say this, people, before I go. We, and I'm not saying you, we as supporters have to do better. It's not okay for players to go to a stadium and see all opposition in the stadium, as we've been seeing, especially those who live in the U.S., because most of the games, frankly, not necessarily play in Jamaica, they play outside Jamaica. They don't play in the U.S. We have to do better as a Caribbean people, not just Jamaicans, in supporting our team. There are a lot of Trinidadians here who don't go to Trinidad game, and we complain about whether they're not playing well. But sometimes they're playing well, we're not supporting them. We have to make certain sacrifices and bring our make it a family vacation, people. You're going to Vegas, you know what, kids? Jamaica gonna play in Vegas. Let me just save up some money and go support. Enjoy a little bit of gambling. I don't gamble with people. I'm not telling you to gamble, but enjoy the show, the ball, the events in Vegas, and bring the kids to Vegas. Create clubs and situations to allow us to do so and support the teams, whether it's Trinidad, whether it's Jamaica, whether it's Haiti, because we're not supporting our football teams, and they're seeing. Look at Colombia yesterday. Look at Venezuela against us. Look at Ecuador against us. That can't be right, people. We gotta do better. And don't tell me it's a resources because no one have money. No, but I have no resource thing. I have enough money to go spend on Buja party when they might come up downtown Brooklyn in this month. I know people are flying from Atlanta, come stay with me. I got Buja concert. Right? You can also go a football game. No, tell me say no money thing, no money thing.
You call that keeping it real.
Yes, keeping it real.
Jay anyway, don't want to call me out just now, but I don't know. I've been to a couple of Jamaica games and I can't remember seeing him. So
good call out because you were there in Texas, right?
I was in Texas.
We didn't see Jay anywhere there. But I must admit, few years ago I was in Florida. He was in Florida, so he
Okay.
went to the Gold Cup in Florida. Gold Cup. Yeah, he was there with me in Florida. All right, sir.
Okay, my brother.
All
Take
right,
care,
all
okay?
right. Thanks. Good night, everyone.
All right.
First, I want to say this, people. If I came across too strong tonight, I meant to come across strong. I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing for that. But at the same time, I don't mean to disrespect anyone. I'm trying to create an environment where respect is paramount and where we as a people can have a community. We get together, share opinion, share perspective, agree to disagree, but support each other. It's not about creating alienation amongst ourselves. It's about creating camaraderie. So I appreciate you being here. I'm glad you're here. Before you go, if you can subscribe, I'd appreciate it. You may say, you know what? Heck no, I'm not doing it. And I understand that too. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you back Sunday. I'm here doing watch along for the Euro. I mean, I pick England. So I'm not like England. I pick England. And also for the Colombia versus Argentina game, which I can't wait for. The football has been atrocious. But Colombia give me hope for Jamaica. Why? Because they have very few name players on their team, and they're playing hard, fast, they're technical. And I think you don't have to all have all name players. So long as they're a unit and they're seen as a unit. They have some name players like Hamad Rodriguez, but not playing at the highest level. They have Sanchez, who used to be at Tottenham, got pushed out to Turkey. They have Diaz, who's at Liverpool, but they don't have like Argentina does, or like Ecuador. I mean, not sorry, like Uruguay does, or Brazil does. And yet look where they are. So at the end of the day, people, if we work as a community and we support, there's nothing like if you play sports with a crowd, there's nothing like seeing fans in the stadium supporting you and pushing you when you have exhausted all your energy. We have to be that 12th man or 13th man for a team. Let's work to do so, people. So again, thank you. You know, I'm going to play my music before I go out, right? I can't just go out without dropping my... Some people tell me it's garbage DJ song, but me not care. Me, I drop my song. If you like it, tell me you like it. If you don't like it, you can also tell me. I welcome criticism. Or no, not criticism. I welcome constructive developmental points. All right, people. So take care. Thank you. And good night. Peace out. Kranky life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk and it's free, yo. Kranky life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Kranky life, tell them. Kranky life, heed them. Kranky life, want them. Kranky life. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose because Kranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Kranky life, tell them. Kranky life, heed them. Kranky life, want them. Kranky life. Kranky life where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Kranky life, get to know the name because Kranky analysis is never lame. Kranky life, give me my Kranky life. I want my Kranky life. Must have my Kranky life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Kranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Kranky life. Tell them, Kranky life. Heed them, Kranky life. Want them, Kranky life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Kranky Live. Tune into Kranky Live. Like up Kranky Live. Subscribe to Kranky Live. Kranky Live coming to you on weekdays. Kranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Kranky will always bring the heat. Kranky Live. Me say fi tell them Kranky life. Me say fi heed them Kranky life. On them Kranky life. Kranky life will be around. Kranky life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Kranky life. Kranky life. Heed them. Want them, heed them. Want them, Kranky life. Kranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Kranky life. Kranky life. Kranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed, want, heed them.